It's always Monday here on the Nen Show Podcast. Hello and welcome. I am your host, Craftsdwarf, here with my co-host, Mathwiz.
Aw, shit. Here we go again.
You remembered. Yeah, awesome. Alright, getting right into comments. Did you have comments, Mathwiz? Because I do. Good round of comments this time.
Wait, where'd it go? Anyway, there was the one from, there was one from Billy Bob, who said, like, it was kind of weird how we treat death fake-outs as a bad thing. I don't know if maybe they just, like, missed the One Piece podcast where, like, we kind of, like, had a big old discussion about one of the cliffhangers.
I feel like we've talked about this throughout the whole thing because it's a very pervasive thing with just how manga chapters are released, and, like, especially at the end of the One Piece discussion, we talked about the Whole Cake Island Bad End musical, which was a very notable death fake out, and just how but anyway, what was your I guess to sum it up though, because I know my specific problem with death fake outs. What about you though?
Well, I know, like, you've, like, even with, like, the Bad End musical, I said, like, it wasn't really a problem, because, like, I see what they'll do for, like, weekly chapters, or, like, something to keep reader interest, so they have, like, these mysteries, but they don't end up panning out. I think, like, maybe I've been bringing it up as, like, hey, someone else might have a problem with this because it's a death fake out, but I've never been too bad with them. Like, some of them can be a little weird. Like, I think I'd mentioned it with, like, the Griff one last time, where it's, like, Griff is barely a character, so to use him for this big moment felt kind of weird, but...
Yeah. See, because I guess if I had a personal issue with it, it's just, like, why did this need to happen? Because, like, yeah, it makes sense for why it happened in, like a paratextual way, or metatextual, I know, probably where it's, like, if you know things outside of the story, yeah, you understand why it happens, but in the context of the story, like, it just doesn't, like, it just, well, how does it matter? Why does it matter? You know? Like, and that's, you know, if it's just arbitrary, then I'm just like, you know, why? Like, it doesn't bug, like, see, there's so many, like, there was another comment by Karabe who was just pointing out some, like, logical gaps and plot holes. One I definitely wanted to respond to, like, with Ruby, cause he knew the name, like, Orochi, Poisonous Orochi or something like that, and he was, and obviously the question is, like, how did he not know that he was working with evil people? But, like, the whole thing with him is that he's good, like, naive and trusting, but also, like, I just thought it was funny because, like, this is something that if it was pointed out, it would have been funny if one of the characters said that to Ruby, like, even, I don't know, so it's just, like, you know, if it's addressed in the story, like, to what degree does it make it okay, because, like, if his anyway, I'm getting off topic, because another thing he said was, Jigan and Let were fighting, and Jigan explained the dragon ceremony thing, even though both of them knew it, and I thought the same thing, but that shit, like, I don't know, is, like, just over-explaining, I guess, is, like, also, it's so common I just don't even, like, register it, you know, like, oh, look, the character's explaining their abilities, like, I don't even think about that kind of stuff, honestly, so it's just, there's just commonalities with the thing that, you know, I'm just so used to. Like, even the fake deaths, I'm like, yep, there it is, you know, especially with Mashima's stuff, because I think the fake death counter Karabe also has in another comment was at 20 for just the first half of Rave, the last 2 episodes, and there's more. There's always more. Like, actually, there's already more fake deaths in Rave than there were teleports behind you in the entirety of Bleach, which is, like, almost twice as long. Or no, more than twice as long.
But that's the thing Bleach is known for. I don't know.
So yeah, that's kind of funny. But yeah, it's like I negative. Like, I don't really think of it as like a negative thing, but it's more like when I think about it, I'm like, yeah. But I usually don't think about it because it's just there it is again. Wow, I better get mad about this for the 533,000th time. Right. So anyway, this was actually Box Story left a comment because apparently he posted an interview too of Mashima's influences, because he apparently he was influenced by Dragon Ball, surprise fucking surprise, and Kinnikuman, which I would love to read eventually on the Nen Show or not, because it's apparently a big deal. But the West doesn't care about it. So, but yeah, I also had a convo on my Discord server with Pablo that See, it's like with me, it's Dragon Ball and then the big three, because the Dragon Ball was super popular in the West in the late 90s and throughout, and then, like, the big three happened. And so it's like, I've always had this in mind that, like, oh yeah, Shonen Jump, it's always been the biggest shonen. No. In the 90s, after Dragon Ball and Slam Dunk ended, weekly, like, the magazine that Rave was in, Weekly Shonen Magazine, I also think I had, like, I think Detective Conan runs in the magazine. Oh, there are other popular titles, but, like, it was the most popular shonen magazine until 2004 when the big three started picking up. So it's like, during the time that Rave was going, it was in the most popular shonen magazine at the time. So, and it was fairly successful. Because we were kind of talking about that kind of stuff last time. So just, having that conversation, it just made me go like, wow, that's right. Shonen Jump isn't always the biggest.
Yeah, that does kind of recontextualize a thing I had said last time where I was like, oh, if Rave Master had been in Weekly Shonen Jump, like, would it have made the cut? Would it not have just been canceled? Like, I'd made the zombie powder comparison. Which, I mean, like, standards could also still be different, even, like, if it is the most popular magazine, but at the same time, if it was more popular than Jump at the time, that's probably unlikely. Like, it probably would have survived. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how the standards are.
And I know they don't, like, I do think they only keep, like, one or two gag comedy manga in Jump at one time. Like, they don't... So it's maybe, there'll be a change in the times and they'll want to have more comedies because that's what people are reading more than the battle stuff, But, so, like last time I postulated the idea, like, oh, what if they turn down Rave because they already have this, goofy fantasy adventure, Because One Piece started before. So, I don't know. I need to reread Bakuman because I think they even brought it up. They must have brought that up at some point where they don't want series being too close to each other in like setting or a tone, maybe, I don't know. But they also do want things to be samey-ish because they want it to be shonen, so there's obviously going to be commonalities, but it's an interesting discussion because I hadn't thought about it. Because again, Shonen Jump has just been so prevalent in the West, even when Fairy Tail was popular, it still wasn't as big as any of the the big three. I mean, maybe closer to Bleach, which was always kind of the least popular. Maybe One Piece because
you mean the worst.
Yeah, but obviously, like in the West, Fairy Tail was never as popular as Naruto. So of course it's like, oh yeah, of course this one series isn't going to be able to step up to the big three. But I don't know. It's just I just hadn't thought about it like that. So
it's funny. I have this. If we're actually, this is kind of a tangent and irrelevant, but I'm bringing it up anyway. I have this one friend who, doesn't follow anime at all, but is like, oh, I've heard of Fairy Tail, so if you ever want to watch Fairy Tail with me, and I'm like, there's so much... Why Fairy Tail?
I see, at least he suggests watching it, which is weird. I think about, I'll get to talk about this on the Fairy Tail Nen Show. But the Fairy Tail anime actually, I think I mentioned this before, but they actually kind of fix some of the errors in the manga. So at least for the first season, I mean, I've seen some of the art and stuff, and it looks kind of iffy at times. But I think it might be better than the manga, at least for a while. I don't know when, but yeah, I don't know. The soundtrack is good, but anyway, moving on to more comments before we go even further off topic. Iger saw her had one about the Fate stuff, sort of adding some own observations, and he even had a line, I think, from Berserk, because I mentioned the comparison, and about how it might apply to Rave too. And especially at the end, he noticed one, there was one thing I thought was interesting, because I didn't notice it myself, but Shuda and Lucia's differing views on failure, where Shuda, hides failure, Lucia... what was it? He insists no one should have weakness in the first place, or that was it. Yeah, Shuda hides weakness and Lucia no weakness. So I was like, oh yeah, there's a connection there that I didn't think about. So that's neat. I have one more comment if you wanna.
There was a comment by Matias Del Campo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing
that's
that right.
That's the last one I had.
Okay, yeah, it was about the romance. I know one little clarification I wanted to make was I made an offhand. It was supposed to be a jokey thing in my Insecure Shonen Protagonist video. I was like, oh, Deku's building a harem, and it was I probably delivered it poorly to not really sell it as this is a joke. But yeah, everyone's like, well, that's not really what's happening, and I feel like that was kind of that was part of what this comment was addressing. So I can, I mean, no one in my, I should probably post a comment, be like, it was a joke, like on the source video, because this is something I've had brought up to me numerous times. I'm like, oh God, why?
Oh, no. I mean, someone's always going to think you're serious, but it depends on to which degree do you think that's like, forgivable. Because like if it's been happening a lot, then maybe you did fail to get that across, which is sad. See, I had a different take from the comment because I forgot it's been a little while since I saw that video, but and I probably accepted it as a joke because I'm not, no, but anyway, I'm actually kind of curious as to how because that's what he asked too, is how do you feel about romance, like in Rave or just in general with the shonen stuff? Because I don't think I've really enjoyed a whole lot of romance stories, like a lot. Like I can think of like one or two that I like that I need to rewatch anyway. And in the shonen stuff, it's honestly just like completely negligibly. Like the only thing in Rave, like because obviously like Haru's been having some romantic encounters. Like we had Belnica this stretch of chapters, Celia the last stretch of chapters, the ongoing thing with Ellie, and then Sieg. Like every time Ellie thinks of Sieg, she gets. And I'm like, that's the one part where I'm like, I mean, like the first, yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
What did you have to say?
If we're talking about Rave Master specifically, you brought up Ellie and Sieg, and that's one that I really actually kind of hate.
Yeah, it's kind of, and especially with how it's used to like do the classic jacking off of Sieg, where especially like, oh look, the picture of the guy who tortures Ellie, and Haru's like, whoa, he looks cool, and I'm like, dude, there's a time and a place.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, so
like,
it's kind of weird. Like maybe at this point, like he's redeemed, so yeah, sure. But overall, I don't know.
Yeah, I still feel like that's a tricky thing just with like character dynamics in general. Is like if a relationship starts from a really toxic place, like one guy trying to murder someone else. Like, at what point does it become okay? Like, at what point have you?
Let's talk about Sasuke and Sakura. Is that what we're going for?
I guess you could draw the parallel there. But like, just for more general shonen, I can't think of many romances that I've been like, yeah, this is really good. Like, there have been some that have been fine. A lot of them just feel kind of like tacked on. Like, if we're talking about the big three specifically, what we've covered on the podcast, One Piece is kind of cool because like there haven't been many.
The only
romances.
Romance is adventure. Yeah, that's what the
Romance
said in one
Dawn.
of the SPSs, right?
That's the
exactly.
romance.
That's the only and there are like I would say things that are likely to be pairings, but they're usually like really underplayed or not, like Usopp and Kaya, but Luffy and Hancock, Sanji and Pudding. Like these are kind of relationships that I would see like if they actually happen, they would be like at the end, like Bleach, like at the end of the series. And like with Bleach, like the relationships between the characters I wouldn't say was expressly romantic. Not that shippers ain't gonna ship, but it's like obviously Orihime liked Ichigo, but oh no, he had some reactions to her too. That's right. Never mind. But it wasn't like built up as a romance like would, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, like Orihime's like there was the part in Hueco Mundo or whatever where she was like, "Oh, the guy I fell in love with" or whatever. So like it was kind of like one-sided setup. See, that's the thing is I feel like a lot of these don't have a ton of like I think I'm pretty okay with, like, Haru and Ellie, like, if that's the ship they go for in the end, because, like, there has been build-up for that. They've been on this adventure. They've had their moments. So, I mean, like I said, like, there are some that are fine, that are maybe even, like, a little good, but there's never been any romance in, like, at least out of the ones we've covered, that has been like, oh, yeah, that really gets me. Like, I can't even think of... Hunter x Hunter doesn't really have anything. Yu Yu Hakusho... I guess we can... Yu Yu Hakusho is kind of okay too.
When we get to it.
I'm just trying to think of things
like,
I've read.
And well, you've also seen the anime, which might do more for the relationship. So we'll see what the manga does. But yeah, it's usually like kind of a small thing in the battle stuff, and so yeah, I don't really pay much attention to it. Like honestly, as far as like romantic stuff, the most interesting moment I can think of it from the stuff we've read was the Naruto and Sakura moment in the summit. That was yes. I remember thinking that was interesting, and how it like showed like Naruto's growth and Sakura's action, it was interesting. But like as far as like a whole like romantic arc, I can't think of anything that I'm like, oh yeah, these like, because it usually, like again with Bleach, like, yeah, there is a romantic angle between Ichigo and Orihime, but that's not necessarily what it's focused on all the time, or even most of the time. Like, it's usually, like, the friendship thing, you know, like, she's another one of his comrades, you know, that he wants to protect. So, and, you know, they have a specific dynamic there, but it's different, so it's not, like, a straight romance, because, yeah, I just thought it was interesting to consider.
Yeah, I guess that's part of my thing, is it's never something that's like a big element of a story, so there's only so much to kind of get attached to.
Right.
Although now that I think about it,
So I guess
there are some like there is a development that happens like in this stretch of Rave Master chapters that's interesting. Like usually the payoffs of like relationships don't normally come until like the end of the story or like towards the very end, so there's not a lot of time to like deal with a pre-established couple. Oh, I mean, never mind, that's not true because there are older characters. But yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes, and yes, there's even two characters. Yeah. That's probably what you're talking about.
Not much really comes of it, at least thus far. Nothing really has, but it's just cool to have two characters in that dynamic.
Yeah. And we shall talk about them. So, finally getting to the reading. We start off in another one of Mashima's, like... Oh, no, actually, the first chapter was more build-up, because, like, Haru's 17, you know, because time passes, that's kind of nice. Because usually they don't address the characters' ages, like... With Hunter x Hunter, I know for a fact that it's been going on more than a year, because the Hunter exam has happened twice. But they have not mentioned if Gon's age has changed at all.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing in, like, maybe it was, like, a wiki page or something that, like, Gon is, like, a year or two older, but it was just never addressed in the story itself.
Yes, it like, we as the audience are like, yeah, but it's never actually, like, unlike this where they actually addressed it, so that's kind of neat. And then, yeah. Because sometimes you want, like, how long have they been on the boat in One Piece, you know? So anyway. But yeah, they meet, what's his face? That's right, they need to get the last rave, so it is kind of like finishing off, or not the second to last rave here.
Actually, now that you mentioned One Piece, like, at least we know with One Piece there was a time skip, so at least, like, 2 years have passed. But, like, with Rave Master, there haven't been... Okay, no, there was a 6-month time skip.
Yes, there was, and then 6 months have passed since then, give or take. Or combined 6 months with the, or I don't know exactly when his birthday was, but yeah. Time has been passing regularly, and it's, you know, been being addressed to some form. But yeah, Dalmatian says that he killed Lady Raisha, further confusing me in regards to what's going on, and that's bad because I've already read the manga.
Yeah, no, that's not great. Oh, on the topic of, like, the birthday thing, I liked the one offhand comment from Ellie where she's like, don't complain, at least you have a birthday. I don't even know when I was born. And it's, like, this really tragic thing, but it's delivered in, like, this comic aside. It's funny.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, it's cute. Oh yeah, and then we get the exposition about the Sword of God. And honestly, I really like this page. It looks cool with the tree growing around this giant fucking sword. Like, I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, the art can be good sometimes. It's nice. It is a little inconsistent, like you were talking about. Like, whether Haru looks slim or buff. Like, I didn't notice that personally.
There's some... This stretch of chapters, like, starting off, there was something really weird. I don't know if it was specifically his eyes, but it was, like, around his eyes that I noticed. It just seemed, like, less round, more sharp. And, like, for a couple of...
I mean, I'm noticing
10 or 20...
Maybe he has bigger, like... Or, I don't know.
I don't know. He... Specifically Haru, like, none of the other characters looked that different. But specifically him, like, something about him just seemed off for a bit.
Well,
but then it went back.
his eyes seem to have, like, darker, like, at times darker, like, borders around the eye. Like, or thicker, maybe? That's just me? No, actually, yeah, Let has that, too. I don't know. Maybe thicker than normal, or maybe I'm just seeing things because I'm only looking at these pages. But I don't know. An art comparison might be in order with all these. Yeah. Anyway, were you done or?
No, yeah, that was it.
Okay, sorry, I interrupted. But yeah, so like basically, it suggested that some god or powerful being, you know, saw conflict and ended it by killing everyone, and Haru gets pissed, you know, because he doesn't like the idea of the god killing people to, you know, for the greater good, because that's been his, like, thing thus far. And and he destroys the sword and gets his rave, and it's good, cool. And of course, like right after that, we get Lucia, who doesn't give a fuck about death at all. Like he even says, "I feel nothing for the dead." Like, so contrast. Oh, that's right. Then we get the demon card. They're sending out all their allies to, or they're trying to gather more allies in the form of the Blue Guardians and the demons. What did they say? I guess the like the ultimate alliance of evil or something like that. And then they ended on a dick joke with like getting his pants dropped. Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, they're like, oh, here's the payoff to that prophecy thing, but it was a bait and switch. It was a fake out. Wait, now I'm forgetting what bait and switch even means, even though I used it correctly in a previous podcast.
But yeah, it's like, oh, it's supposed to, oh look, the prophecy's done with, and then it's like, not really. So yeah. Oh yeah, because that's the thing, they addressed the prophecies, that I was, like, I don't know, I'd have to think about but no, Mashima did all the thinking for me, thank you. So yeah, and here we get the chapters of like I was talking about last time, where it's like Mashima needs time to think about the next arc. So like there's literally like I talked about this in my video because I personally connected with this one of where Mashima put himself in his manga and his editor, where it's like, because I in like 7th grade I wrote a meta essay of like just me trying to think of a topic for an essay, and I rambled on for like a bunch of pages, and yeah, it was garbage. And so here's Mashima putting himself in his own manga, trying to come up with ideas for his own manga, and it's like it's the same thing, just in a professional publication. I'm like, oh my god, I'm looking at my past self.
See,
so it's weird.
This was when I was first reading it, I was like, on one hand, I was like, oh, this is genius, because like if you need extra time to like plan out or draw another chapter, you could always like, okay, I'll just make this gag chapter, which doesn't, like it's just a one-off thing. It doesn't really detract too much from the story. But then I also like thought on that more, and I was like, wait, if he's drawing his manga and he doesn't know where he's going with it at the moment, like he doesn't know what to do for the next chapter, that's not a good thing.
No, probably not, no.
But like I thought of this, I don't know, like of course because we just read One Piece, I thought of this from like an Oda perspective. I was like, what if, because like Oda's mapped out this journey, but what if he just like, or I was thinking, maybe not specifically One Piece, but like any story, like say you're drawing a chapter that is like, a big fight scene or like big information about the world, but like you're running low on the time and the deadline's coming up, so you just quick throw together. But that's not how this would work. I don't think that people usually like plan their chapters ahead like a couple weeks in advance. So I at first I thought this was clever. Now I don't know how it can possibly be clever.
Well, that's like I said, I did this kind of shit when I was 12, so you're saying I'm clever at 12 years old, and I would strongly disagree.
Because at least I was thinking from like a planning perspective, like it gives you extra time to finish up a better chapter, but that's not necessary.
I mean, because like I don't think it was like finished. I would, if he was like trying to make time, I would assume he's like trying to come up with what he needs for the future arcs.
Yeah.
And which I think paid off, because like I think you said it too, but I'd say Blue Guardians is my favorite arc so far. So
Blue Guardians was, but the stuff that came like before that,
yeah, no, not as much, no. So I don't know exactly what he would have been planning at this time, those arcs or even further up the road. But Blue Guardians I liked, so
yeah,
I don't know.
Because I don't think it would be simple enough to just say he didn't know what he's doing for the rest of the story at all at this point. Because like obviously you'd plan out some beats ahead of time.
And that's the thing. Well, because like even with one of these chapters, just like this a while ago with Alice, the bunny, whose like potion has come into relevance twice now. Once with turning Musica back into a person, and again with turning Julia back into a person. So it's like, I mean, I don't think any of this, unless the Mashima comes into the story again for another one of these chapters, I don't think they come up again. And then of course right after that we get the Jigglebutt gang, everyone's favorite, where it's where it's like so and these guys I'm pretty sure don't become meaningfully relevant after the Symphonia arc where they were in the casino. I might be misremembering, but yeah, it's just like, he's trying to kill time and with goofy shit, but that I don't find particularly goofy it is goofy. I just don't find it funny, as we've talked about.
I also liked the one little line in the self-insert manga chapter where he's like, oh, this is an interesting story, even if it's drawn like crap. And he's like, well, the art improves after volume 7 or so. So we got a bit of self-commentary from Mashima.
Yep. So anyway, after all the goofy shit, we get a bit of actual things happening where Shiba decides to leave Garage Island. He's old, so he doesn't have much time left. Sieg runs into mysterious cloaked man who turns out to be Shuda, and there's things I have to say for later. I realized Shuda might be my favorite character in the manga because I got hyped when he showed up. So I don't know. But yeah, well, he doesn't actually do a whole lot this stretch now I think of it, or maybe I'm just straight up forgetting some shit. But he becomes part of the gang.
You don't understand, Craftsdwarf. He becomes like their dance teacher. He did ballet as a child. He's this edgy badass. He's so cool.
So he is the Vegeta. They're both good at dancing. I saw Battle of Gods. Oh god, and his hair is similar. Like I just now that I'm thinking about it,
his hair
he's also
is very
former
Vegeta.
Villain who's now an ally. Didn't think about that. But he and Sieg talk about because now that the Demon Card made their alliance, they have 4 of the Sinclairs. The only one they're missing is because remember last time we were confused about Jagan because Let vanished and because Jagan was supposed to be there, but then he comes back and it's never addressed. It was addressed. Jagan was there and he got Ogre's Sinclair piece that because Musica and Reina just blew him the fuck out, and I guess Jagan picked up the Sinclair piece after that, where with Doryu, Haru, and gang got it after they beat him. So, yeah. So, look there, Mashima planned something.
Even then, in the context of the arc, it was still a little weird how Let just kind of walked off to do nothing and then came back.
Yeah, that was still weird. But
at least something did come of it later.
Yes, exactly. And then there's something that comes of it now, because Jagan has a horde of fucking dragons, and he's coming to kill them. And so you get a big old Let stays behind, and he gets a big old fight thing. So and yeah, I guess it does kind of wrap up that sort of whole subplot, which also kind of happened with. I remember I had this question before, and I haven't thought about it since. But because Musical's whole motivation was to find the Silver Ray, and he has Silver Ray now, but I guess he's still helping his friends. Even though he doesn't really have a personal reason to be there anymore. Even because that at the end of the Tower of Din, they sort of specified Ellie wants to find her memories, and Musica wants to find this ship, the Silver Ray, and then they just kind of it just but now Musica's found that, but he's still here, and now Let he had his deal with Jagan, and then now that's done with, but he's still with them. So I don't remember if that was ever addressed, because he specifically called attention to how they're not all here just to help Haru. They have their own things to do, but then they resolve those own things and they're still around. So I don't know. I remember thinking about that first time I read the manga, and I don't think I have an answer yet. So
one thing I just realized, when these characters, okay, well that's not entirely true, but when these characters, no, never mind, it's not true, so I'm not gonna say it.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm reading through, and Let does say, true friends shall never part. So, yeah, they do want to help Haru now after they've solved their ship, I guess. So, maybe not fully satisfying for me, but sure. Okay.
Although one thing that is kind of weird about Let, that I think he's kind of gotten less interesting to me, I guess, but not necessarily less interesting as a character. When he first was introduced, he was, besides the design change, it feels like his personality has changed a bit too. Before when he first fought Haru, he was all, I want to be stronger, I want to be stronger, I want to fight strong opponents. But he doesn't that kind of just disappeared from his character. Like now he had this dealing with Jagan and Julia. Like that became his new character motivation. It wasn't about like fighting strong people and being a Kenpachi. Now he's something else.
Yeah, because now I guess before he was that was like his villain thing, and now he had other because he just kind of like was going around doing that, I guess, but then. Yeah, that is kind of weird now because I don't see
it did get brought up like once in somewhere in the Blue Guardians stretch of chapters where he was like, "Don't you like to fight strong opponents or whatever?" But that was kind of it.
Yeah, so because it begs the question. Like, I forget why exactly he was working with King before. Especially because now I think about it, he would have been working with Jagan distantly. That's weird now I think about it. So I'm gonna stop.
Well, I mean, like, there were certain characters who, like, got into Demon Card so they could, like, destroy Demon Card or get closer to what it was they wanted to take out.
Yeah, that's true. Like, a lot of, like Sieg and Reino were both in Demon Card, even though they ended up being allies in the end.
Another thing that's also kind of weird now that I think about it, Musica had said that, like, oh, you're not like the rest of Demon Card. You have a good heart or whatever. But then, the more we're getting to learn about Demon Card, that some of them are kind of bad, but like they all have those sort of like pasts that had kind of like made them who they were. There's other
characters. I mean, maybe who else would Musica have met up to that point? Like, because he wasn't there for the Dancing Thunder arc, so he didn't see Demon Card people who were actually like good, but whatever with the
he was there when there was the beauty guy who was like, oh, I'm evil, but now he's like, I'm not evil.
Yeah, that was a change though. Like his comment would have been during the Tower of Din, right?
No. Wait. Wasn't it during the Silver Ray stuff that he said?
Oh, I thought you were with Reina. Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking Reina.
I thought you were talking about with Let. Okay.
No. No, I'm thinking because he said that to Reina. Like that's why she was.
You're right.
Different.
Okay.
Like out of the Oraceon Sais, like she was the. I think like.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of Yeah. Okay. Never mind. That is kind of weird.
But then, like, there was this thing with Jagan where he's like, oh, I mean, like, not to say that he is a good person now, but, like, he does a thing, which is, I don't know.
We'll talk about that. But yeah, I'm not sure if I have anything to say specifically about the Let Jagan fight, like, because Let, he just has a big, he opens his 8th gate, but it's fine. He doesn't die because Julia saves him.
Yeah, because there's the thing with he had like the elixir thing, but she's like, oh, I only drank half of it, so I used the other half to save you. It's like, okay, whatever.
That's right. That was it. Yes. And then
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Julia's no longer a dragon. She is real again.
Yes. Oh, and we get a Jagan backstory, which kind of like, because the thing with Demon Card is, I think it's especially brought up later, where is that like they want Endless so that they can change the past because they all had these shitty backstories, which is also true of the main character. Like, some of the main character, like Haru didn't really. Now I think about it, he was just a kid growing up on an island. So that's a potential contrast, but like Musica had his whole family fucking die. Ellie was like the first thing she remembers was her being tortured to death, except not really. So like obvious contrast there, where the protagonists are willing to accept the bad things that happen to them and use that to grow, where the bad guys, they just want to change those bad things. So yeah, but just repeated ideas. So. It's like poetry. Rhymes.
I'm guessing the thing with the prophecy here, because it was like, oh, you will have a choice or something, and you'll have like a great loss. I don't know if it was like he lost a friend in Jagan, because they were like, oh, we were friends, and he's like, no, I was never your friend or whatever. And it's like, oh, a false friend then, and then he just like the fight happened.
Maybe because like he didn't lose Julia or his life. He didn't like he said that he's still with his friends even though they're gone, so he didn't lose them. So yeah, I guess Jagan would be the only thing it would have been, I guess. So, but yeah, Julia came back, and like you said, she's a real girl now. And then then we see Jagan waking up in a town, and he happens to run into a dude with a matching tattoo on the other eye instead. That's right, his brother Jade. And then the fucking whole town gets wrecked because Shakuma wanted the Sinclair. Well, because like, see, when I first read it, I was like, what the fuck happened? But oh yeah, Jagan died. That's what happened. He had his like a character moment where he protected the girl who saved him. So he like got redeemed, I guess, and then he got killed like immediately. And yep. So very sad.
This I was kind of disappointed when this happened because Mashima had taken the time to focus on him after his loss, like instead of just killing him then. So, and there was like a thing where he's like, I'm just gonna look for a place to die. But then his brother or whoever, this guy with the eye tattoo, is like, you're not alone. Straying from the path does not mean you can never step back on it. So I was like, oh cool, maybe we'll get like a redemption arc. Like, here's this guy who like wants to die. It was like going to go commit suicide or something, but it's like, okay, he can get a chance to like learn to be good, and then no, like he just
he kind of gets, they both get what they want in a way. Jagan dies and Jade has his brother kind of redeemed, I guess. So
because like he quickly gets attached to like like he gets kind of friendly with this one girl, and then it's just boom, attacked, dead.
See, I feel like the one idea of the story is definitely going to mess up, or almost definitely going to, like, I can't say totally, but like, because the sacrifice thing is like none of the characters want sacrifice, but it keeps happening. So I don't know how it's going to like meaningfully resolve, if at all. Because Haru was obviously like with the fish people, he's like, no, don't sacrifice yourselves. But then they're doing it, like helped him, and he was able to fight. And so I don't know how it's going to get resolved exactly. So.
But yeah, anyway, there's also like why introduce Jigan's brother? Like, I hope he's relevant later or something, because this was like all he did, and it's like why?
Yeah, yeah, we should. I don't remember, but it would happen in the next chapters if it did.
Yeah.
So,
because I mean, like much time and so many things happened.
Yeah.
Before after this arc event.
I remember complaining about this one in the Nen Show, or not the Nen Show, in the tirade on because it's like this arc specifically, because it's just like big moment after big moment, and they're just like running away, and it's like, because oh look, it's Jagan and Let, and they have a big character moment. Oh look, Deep Snow and Shuda, and they have a big character thing, and then oh look, Haru and Lucia, and it's just like, oh, okay, like it just kind of keeps going. See, like one thing I do like is that like everyone, like the actions of the main characters are like having almost immediate effects on the world and the other organizations and character. Like they have like 4 Rave Stones and 1 Sinclair, so it's like they're all really close to getting to all the 5 pieces. So now they attract a lot of attention. But it's also like, as a result, it's just like super heavy, all like super fast, all at once kind of stuff. And I'm just like, is that really good for, for personally speaking, my, pacing? Like, am I, because when I first read it, I was like dead during this stretch because it was so painful of just like, because especially the translation at this part was really fucking bad. And I was less invested in general because I was, probably trying to find reasons to dislike it. Like I remember one part in particular that was really bad for the translation was Dalton the Chrysalis, because he said, "I'm the strongest member of the Empire," and then he's like, "Oh no, actually, the other guys are even stronger than me. I'm the weakest." But it's like, in the official translation, he doesn't say that at all. He says like, he probably said something like, "Oh yeah, I'm one of the elite members of the Imperial Guard," and then later he says he's one of the weaker ones, and considering he can clone himself, it's kind of fair, because like, yeah, if he's weaker alone, then he can clone himself and be strong, and like, yeah, a bunch of stronger dudes, but like, whatever, or not a bunch of dudes at once, it would be stronger. So yeah, the translation made it worse. So yeah, this arc I did not like at all when I first read it. Though nowadays it's like, I don't know, it's not my least favorite arc, but like, yeah, this one and the one after it was Sieg, I was like, eh. But Blue Guardians I liked, so we'll get to that.
Yeah, I feel like Mashima had, like, over the course of some of these, well, like the one with like Jagan really threw me off, because I was like, there's like loose ends getting brought in and then just like swept away. But it's like there's potential interesting world building that could be drawn from it. I don't know. I mean, the character was still alive, so maybe he's still around.
Yeah, maybe. So anyway, yeah, there's some fighting. Haru beats up the Dalton guy
and
with his bare hands.
There was
'cause he's
a
gotten
cool
stronger.
moment, like a callback to chapter 1, where he's like, "Oh, and you know, when I first left on my journey, I beat up a guy made of iron, and I could barely put a dent in him. Let's see how much stronger
Yes.
I've gotten since then." And then he just beats the crap out of him.
Yeah. And then there's the other guy with 4 arms who ends up like being like a temporary ally later.
Oda, damn it, I did it again.
Go
Mashima
on.
just loves to introduce more. That's right. We forgot to talk about how we got introduced to the starfish guy. That's all he's ever good for. But he
forgot
sticks
about him.
around. He doesn't do anything. Like, at least
I forgot
Griff-
about him. Like, I opened up the stretch of chapters on, like, I'm looking at the stuff right now as I flip through it. And I was like, oh yeah, the starfish guy. I forgot about him. And now I forgot that he actually stays around and is still there. And, I
he
was like,
doesn't do anything.
See, like,
he's just I don't know why Mashima does this. Like, he just has a couple of characters around who don't add anything to like the plot. They're just there for like comedy relief. But it's never.
See, I think it's funny because I had a friend who read like 100, like he read about like 150 chapters of One Piece, and he's like, I do have one issue where I feel like the characters were introduced too quickly, and I'm like, oh, and now I'm thinking, oh, too quickly you say? Go read Rave, where like how many characters do they have in their like group right now? Because Plu, Griff, Haru, Musica, Ellie, Shuda, Let, Julia. Ruby, and then they get Belnica at the end. They have 10 like characters I can name in their group. They're already bigger than the Straw Hats at this point in the story. Like, holy shit. And even Oda is having trouble like getting them all to do something in the arc, which is why he split them up with Dressrosa and Whole Cake Island. Whereas Mashima, like, yeah, no wonder there's characters just sitting around doing nothing. He has fucking 10 of them.
This is like. If Dragon Ball's an influence, I kind of get it, because this is doing the Dragon Ball thing where we have all these characters who are around to provide commentary or something. Like,
yeah. So, I mean, at least like I do think the most of them get more moments. Like, I guess like if we're gonna do the Dragon Ball comparison, like yeah, there's still ones that don't, but like Julia had some moments in the last. Like what should the characters do? Like
No,
Griff doesn't do anything ever.
yeah. Some of them are actual characters, but like, see like Griff had at least like a moment or two where you could maybe say, okay, like he's done something relative to the story. This starfish guy has done fucking nothing. Like, he was a guide. Wasn't that Griff's role? Like, wasn't Griff supposed to be good at the maps? Why do we need another Griff?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of it. I can't wait to the next popular poll where we see that this starfish guy gets like 4th place.
Jesus Christ. Oh, that's right. There's Plu as well. Like, Plu is
Gamapunta in
there,
9th? Now Gamapunta in 9th doesn't seem so bad, does it? Oh god. But yeah, so it's like he does have a lot of characters, but I'm trying to think, and I think in the Blue Guardians arc like most of them do some, like even Ruby has a moment, even though we'll talk about that. Holy god, what is wrong with my voice?
But yeah, like at least Ruby has done something, because it was getting to the point where I was like, wait, why is Ruby doing nothing? I thought Ruby was like a main character. And then he did do something, so that was nice.
Yeah.
But even then, like, a lot of the time he doesn't do a whole lot. Like, he's just running around the group.
Right. Because like I don't think Shuda did much in the Blue Guardians arc, but he does get a fight against Deep Snow here. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, Deep Snow comes in, and they fight for briefly, and Shuda comes in, and he, leave him to me, and they get a whole fight.
Oh wait, now you know what I'm thinking of, because we just talked about all these characters, and then I also remember that Mashima will sometimes do his little self-insert guy, and like he'll also be in the party on occasion, like very rarely, but it does happen sometimes, and it's
yeah.
But yes, getting back to the plot, there is a cool looking 2-page spread where the fly guy is gonna like chase down Haru's group, and he gets blown out of the sky by Shuda, who's like,
with all the Shuda explosions.
This guy does not suit you, and it's like, oh, badass.
Yeah, this shit is cool. Shit is cool. But yeah, like these, he just takes out all the, like he literally takes like out all 4 of the Imperial guards who are supposed to be like super strong. So, yeah, it's just the shonen thing where it's like, oh yeah, this guy, he's super strong, and then they get destroyed because, oh, this guy, he's super stronger. So anyway, I'm trying to think if I had anything to say about Shuda versus Deep Snow.
Now that I think about it, like Shuda kind of, he's giving me kind of like Hiei vibes if Hiei wasn't a dick. Like he's got the black like edgy cloak, and he's got like the face and the hair.
Was Hiei inspired by Vegeta in some fashion too? Or
possibly?
It
I
wouldn't
don't know.
surprise me because Dragon Ball was so fucking influential. Like, well, you know, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
I mean, it is possible, but now that I think about it, like Yu Yu Hakusho was running around the time. I think it started around like the Cell arc, maybe.
So a little bit. Yeah, it's much closer to Dragon Ball than, you know, Rave and the Big Three, for example. So yeah, I don't actually know what Togashi's influences are, because I know he's had them, but I've never like looked, or if he's even said anything in interviews or anything. Now I'm curious.
But yeah, like. Shoot is cool, and like it's that's what makes the stuff with like, oh, I was the king of ballet as a kid, like that just makes it even cooler because he says it with like a straight face and he's like proud of it, and
and everyone else has these horrified looks because they get a terrible mental image, but he's fine with it. Yeah, shit is good. Oh, and we'll talk about it later, but shit is also related to literally my favorite joke in the entire series, and maybe Mashima's whole mangography.
Oh.
So yeah, anyway, but like for the fight, I'm looking at my notes trying to see if I noticed anything, but I did kind of like how like Deep Snow is the not son of King,
and Shuda is the not
of Gale, right? So it's like they've got a sort of inherited will thing from the bloodlines that are eternally supposed to fight, but they're not even part of that bloodline. So
yes.
And yeah, and then you get Deep Snow's backstory where he believed his King, you know, feared his power, but no, actually King sent him to the Empire because he didn't want him to be, King was so aware of how like evil Demon Card was, like it's kind of like card carrying villainy almost, but like he accepted his role pretty much. I think that was what the whole thing with the Tower of Din too, but he sent Deep Snow off because he wanted him to have a better life, you know. So
yeah, this was a pretty cool fight. You know, you had like the themes, and then there was also just like the fire versus water, like the rain. It all played off each other really nicely.
And I was reading my notes and it's because Gale's whole thing is that he wants to protect his family, but King sent away his family. So
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, because, you know, he did consider Deep Snow, you know, to be his son, you know, not his blood son, but his other son, you know, because he just
cast him aside to keep him away from his evil doings.
Yes, right.
Also, speaking of how edgy Shuda is, his like big attack thing is like he pulls a blade from within a blade. And then I had someone in my Discord server say like, "Oh, Kubo ripped off Mashima," because that was something that happened in like the final fight against Uebach.
Oh, that's right. With Ichigo, his sword broke and he had another sword in his sword. So Shuda is Ichigo. We solved the mystery.
Actually, but like, if Weekly Shonen Magazine was a big thing at the time, like it was bigger than Shonen Jump, and like Rave Master was running in it, like now there's actual like plausibility that these authors like might have seen something from Mashima and thought it was cool and found a way to.
yeah, because like I doubt Rave was the most popular in the magazine, especially if Detective Conan was running in it. Like I don't know shit about Shonen Magazine. I'm sorry, I'm terrible. But yeah. So anyway, Haru's gang finally reaches the cave with the star vestige or star memory used to be, and they sort of like mess around with some memories. Though Ellie's a bit hesitant to see her past, and they also see all this fucking like these pages of Demon Card like doing horrible shit. is actually pretty fucking horrible. Like, there's just fucking bodies, like, hanging from nooses, or, like, people getting stabbed, and I'm like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
Like, just suddenly hyper-violent out of nowhere again. Kind of like, I had the similar reaction back with, the illusion Haru had to experience at the hands of Sieg, where he sees all his loved ones dying and sacrificing themselves for him, and just, oh, yeah, that's violent all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, this is around the time that I started noticing that some of the rave-isms were coming back, but they were like, some of them were a bit different. Like, it seems like, I don't know if like as the translation went along, like they were still being kind of like modernized, but because like the times were progressing more into like the 2000s, if maybe like the lingo is changing a bit. But there's a part where what's towards the end when like Shuda gets attacked, but who the, I can't remember his name. Musica. He's like, oh, that's Dirty Pool, you sick freak. His back was turned, and I'd never heard Dirty Pool used as an expression.
Same. So I don't know what that is. Though of course my favorite one from the stretch of chapters I referenced in the opener, because Musica Field says that he hates Mondays, and I'm like, why? Why would you say this? What is it? What? Oh god. But yeah, they want to use the star memory to try and, so they can figure out how to do things, going forward, I guess. Because yeah, that star memory, this is where this idea comes in, because star memory is a place that manipulates time. So, and of course, right before they try to get Ellie's memories, Lucia fucking comes in. Because I guess that's what he does. He just comes in to talk about Ellie or kiss her or whatever. This fight I didn't care for as much as the Shuda one, but yeah, Lucia versus Haru, which I'm trying to think of how often the main character just fights the main antagonist, like, because this is the second time they've encountered each other, but they actually like straight up fight to like until one of them is beaten, pretty much. Like, it's because it's weird, because Haru's actually stronger than him at first. Like, they have this big face-off, and then they clash, and Haru's like, I didn't even break a sweat, and Lucy's like, cut, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, it was interesting, because it's like, wait, are we just gonna... Because, I mean, Mashima has done that before, where, like, the perceived final boss, King, kills himself, and, like, so then we gotta find a new antagonist. So it's like, I was like, is he gonna do it again? Like... Is Lucia going
I can
down?
confirm Lucia is the final boss.
Well, at this point, yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. I mean, I could see why you doubted it at this moment, though.
Because this was like 80 chapters before where we are now, or not quite that far, maybe like 60.
Yeah. Because Haru uses Sacrifar. So a sword named for sacrifice, and it doesn't work. Surprise, surprise. Because like with him, it makes him hyper aggressive. So he does beat Lucia, but then he's starts fucking up other shit. But when Lucia uses it, he's okay because he doesn't care about anyone else anyway. So,
he has self-control.
I guess you could read it. Yeah, I guess you could read it as like it's a sword that sacrifices everything else, or and so obviously it doesn't work for Haru because he doesn't want sacrifice, but Lucia doesn't care. So...
Oh yeah, I didn't even think that it was supposed to be like self-sacrifice. I thought it was like someone must die, like this sword needs blood, like that kind of.
Yeah, I don't
sacrifice.
Well, I don't know, because Haru just went wild, like, and but yeah, I don't know. I'd have to reread what it actually does because I forgot, but yeah, Lucia's like, okay, well, everything Haru is but the opposite. Like almost every thing he says, because like Haru's like friendship, and Lucia's like, yeah, I need slaves, allies, right? Slaves, friends, same thing. But yeah, Shuda trades the Sinclair piece, and Lucia stabs in the back because he's evil. He's almost comic of it. It almost becomes comic, honestly, just because he's so like.
He's like, I've never kept a promise in my life.
Like he's just the evilest thing possible, and it's to a point where it's kind of funny.
I mean, like, it was interesting when Shuda was like, I'm gonna, he tried to bargain with the Sinclair, and he's like, I don't bargain with you. Like, I can just kill all of you. And he's like, well, okay, I'll kill the girl. And he's like, you won't do it. And then he like, cuts her throat enough to like.
Yeah.
Like
Shuda's
slightly...
not her friend. He doesn't care. So it actually, yeah. But of course, once he gets his hand on Sinclair, all bets are off.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, why wouldn't you just, like, if you have what he wants with, like, Ellie, why would you let her go? Why would you not just, like, wait until he leaves and then let her go? Like, just to make sure that nothing like this happens. Shuda, you dumbass.
Though I was going to say, because, I do find some of Lucia's villainy, like, funny at times, but I don't think that would necessarily detract from him. Like, I just don't find him super interesting in the first place. Like, cause Sasuke. I find Sasuke super interesting. I also find him being an edgy baby, like, hilarious. So, that's just how I roll, I guess.
Having flashbacks to the 5 Kage Summit episode where you were talking about the clip you used, and I was like, oh, is it the one where Sasuke's like holding his face and he makes this edgy smirk, and you're like, yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. And then, you don't understand my darkness. Just that wasn't even the official translation, but it's such a meme. I'm never going to forget it because it's so good. Oh, man. Oh, that was it. I don't need friends. I have royal blood. I just need minions who kneel like Lucia. And Haru says that, like, we could be friends, because he wants to, but even he can't kill Lucy after he punches him out. So, yeah. Oh, and then we get Endless. He just appears because he can do that. This infinite magic thing of monster that's made a plot element going forward.
It's made up of plot elements.
And you get another weird moment of Ellie tells Haru, the second Rave Master, to release her because implying that it's Reisha, and that's what he assumes too. We'll find out next time, because next time's gonna be the last time. We're almost done with Rave. Holy shit!
Yeah, only one more to go. And then Fairy Tail.
Yay! Which is already one episode longer than I thought it was going to be. And it also includes a 90 chapter read and an 80 chapter read. We need to, Mathwiz. We need to get to Togashi as soon as we can. Without having 5-hour episodes. Oh, man. But yeah, they deal with Endless temporarily. The bad guys retreat, as they do. The good guys, finally are able to just, like, recover, lick their wounds. And here we get the moment I find the funniest in the entire series for some reason. Because Shuda is explaining shit, and he's like, oh, he's explaining what he did after the fighting. And, by the way, Haru, I fucked your sister.
Yeah, it's I don't know why let's use this, like, piece of star memory or whatever to, like, go through my past, and it's like, it's not something you ever would have expected. It's just like, okay, so we're gonna see his exploits and figure out what he's been doing, and it's just like, oh, by the way,
I might become your brother-in-law. Like, that's so fucking, I don't know why I find that so funny, but it's so good.
I think it's also made funnier just by, like, the expressions he has on his face, because everyone is just, like, in shock, and then he's got like this smug smirk.
I tapped that, like, Jesus Christ, dude. Oh, God.
And then it comes back up again later when I forget how it was relevant, because there was, like, another character that, like, something was happening with Haru, and then he just cuts in, like, something, your older brother, and then, like, he's back at fighting with Shuda. But I forget what the moment was. I forget the context of it. It was, like, around the dance contest, but I don't... Ugh.
Yep.
Mashima can be funny sometimes.
He can. So anyway, but yeah, they talk about what they need, how they need to use the 5 pieces of Rave to go to Star Memory and kill Endless, so he's not being super dangerous. So now they finally know what they need to do. Like, I mean, it was always the same thing they need to do, but now it's even given more of a weight, I suppose. But of course, immediately after this, they realize that the antagonists already have all 5 Sinclair pieces. So now we get the next arc, which is all about Sieg, everyone's favorite.
We can just skip this one. I mean, nothing really happened.
Shut up, Madeline. No, it's fine. No, I actually liked it more than I expected. Because I've gone on record saying Sieg's one of my least favorite characters ever, and now I just, like, I don't dislike him. I don't know if I like him, but I don't know, I'm just neutral on him. Like, because yeah, obviously he's Mashima's favorite, with the most obnoxious bit being in the Doryu fight where Ruby's like, oh yeah, elements. Also, Sieg's got all the elements because fuck you. For no reason, I'm gonna bring this up, and it's just like, why, Mashima? And this I think I was annoyed with at the time, but now I actually kind of like how it plays out. Because he goes back to his hometown of where everyone's wizards who, you know, command time, or, you know, they're like, because he has this little thing, he wants time to be safe. But now they're changing up a bit, and they're like, oh yeah, we're mages, we should be above the mortals, we should command time so these mortals don't fuck everything up. And it turns out the leader of the town, Mildian, or Miltz, is working with Haja. So yeah. So we do finally get our Sieg versus Haja fight.
It was a fight.
Yes, it was. But yeah, first he deals with all the... Well, see, I kind of like how the... because Sieg's like, why did you guys all change? But then the kid is like, it wasn't the town who changed, it was Sieg. Because Sieg is the one who like went out and experienced the world and learned a bunch of shit and found a new perspective, while the town has been the same. Like, the town has been trapped in time for, ever, presumably. Or at least since its beginning. And Sieg, getting more experience was the one who came to change it. So, like, well, because, like, in going out to seeing the world, like, he tried to deal with Ellie, and then he realized he was wrong. Whereas these mages, they've never experienced failure, they've always been perfect, so they're like, oh yeah, all the humans are, they're gonna fuck up, but we've never failed before, we'll do right. And then Sieg's like, no, you guys are gonna fuck up, because, I've fucked up, therefore you guys will you guys might, they're not perfect. So, but they're trying to put themselves above his gods. So Sieg ends up, and I do kind of like how it ends, because he beats Haja with just like what was it, like a wooden spear or something, or like a simple mundane weapon, because he knows that like magic doesn't, you can't, like, a magic shield can't block. It blocks magic, but it can't block like,
and it was something he learned from Haru.
Yes. Right, which was how he got defeated. So he basically made Haja experience the exact same failure that he himself did. So yeah, I kind of like how it like played out.
Yeah, there were like two cool moments, and you brought them both up. There was the one with the kid, like, oh, it wasn't the town that changed, you were the one that changed. And then, yeah, Haja getting pierced with the broken staff.
Yes. I mean, like, part of me kind of likes the fight that they were fighting with magic underground for like 7 days. Where it's like the wizards are like commenting on things, and it's like, Sieg must be dead by now, but no, they're still fucking fighting down there, like, so yeah, I actually kind of like this fight. When before I just hated it, and Sieg and everything.
Yeah, I thought it was just kind of fine. Yeah,
it was fine. I mean, I'd say maybe I would put it slightly above the Shuda fight from last time, maybe, but Blue Guardians is still good, as I've been saying. So yeah, but I'm just surprised at how much I like this relative to the last time I read it, where I just fucking hated it, because I read everything as like, oh look, Sieg, he's so good and perfect, and even though the point is that he's not perfect. Like, how did I miss? I mean, like I said, the translation was bad, but I missed the point pretty hard, because like I even thought like, oh yeah, look, he beat all the wizards, but like he still needed help to beat Haja, because Miltz.
Yeah, because like I guess that was also a thing, because like at first I was like, why is he, if he's like this master elemental guy, why is he not using that? Why is he just using a sword, when like the magic powers are like the one thing in this setting that like isn't a sword that people fight with? But then it's like, well, it's an energy thing, like he was beating people with and like absorbing their energy with the sword, so he was like using the energy of the town to fight Haja. So that was neat.
Of infinite fucking energy, right? And then he came to the town needing Miltz's help, because he's like, I can't beat Haja alone. And then in the end, Miltz helps fight Haja, and that allows Sieg to end up using the staff to finish Haja off. So it's like he still needed help in the end. So yeah, it was actually surprisingly good. And yeah, he's able to keep Demon Card from getting all the Sinclair pieces. And then there's a weird thing at the end where this other bad guy comes out of Haja's dead body, and but Sieg wasn't actually beaten, so I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, I guess it was like because he had like the upside down mouth, and it's like, oh, you get another another guy here. Oh wait, no, he's just gone. He get beaten.
Right. Oh, and there was a whole thing going on with Ellie's like magical connection, because like at the end they even joke about it with like, oh, you must be in love with Sieg, and everyone's like, no, and Ellie's like, oh my gosh, I'm a sorceress, and they're like, wait, hold up. So I mean, I guess it makes sense that they're connected because Sieg blasted Ellie with magic, and that's the first thing she remembered. I don't know, maybe. Well, not anymore. She's had a flashback, but still, yeah, just a thought I randomly had.
Yeah, because at first I was like, oh, of course she would be able to notice that Sieg survived. Like, that's convenient. But then it came back later, like, oh, she's a sorceress. Like, that was... So it makes sense now in retrospect. Like, that was part of, like, her powers.
Yes, because that you're right. That does come into the Blue Guardians thing of her finally actually using her magic.
Also, there was, like, some setup that there's going to be a future conflict with Sieg because there was, like, the guy who... even Haja wouldn't fight, like the true greatest sorcerer. So that's something to look forward to in the final arc, I assume.
Yes, Sieg does have some things in the final arc. Okay, so anyway, moving on, they need to keep going to get to the final rave, and along the way, they're like, hey, we need money, so we're gonna do a dance contest.
Finally, something that's not fighting, but is still a conflict.
Yes. Yeah, and it's relevant because it builds up, because you got it introduces characters who become important. And yeah, here you get the moment of Shuda saying like, I was in ballet, and he's like, yeah, he's just like, you're right, he's just so chill about it, and he's not embarrassed at all. It's everyone else who's like, what, how, what? But he's like, yeah, Shuda's a good boy.
Shuda wears his past on his sleeve. He's like, He
doesn't see it as a failure in the first place because it makes him good.
Well, because I mean, like there's the thing with Haru's sister, and then there's like the dancing. Like he's their coach. He's like, okay, I'm going to train you in like a couple days, and you're going to do this. You're going to win this competition. It's going to be great. And it's Shuda. It's the edgy sword within a sword boy.
Yep.
Maybe Shuda is my new aesthetic character. Maybe Dragon Let has finally been replaced.
Shit is cool.
Oh, there's also the one part where like the nerd guy from Garage shows up, or I don't know why I said nerd. He's like a scrub. I don't know. But then he's like
Branch.
Yeah, Branch
with the weird swoopy hair.
Yeah, Branch, and he says something about Haru's sister, and then he like Shuda gets all up in his face, and he's like, "What? Like I'm gonna murder you?"
Oh, that's right, because Branch was an abusive piece of shit to her, so and of course Shuda would, that's right, I forgot about that. Branch, though, I was surprised that I don't know, we'll talk about him later, because there was one specific moment that contextualized him, like, because he's a gigantic piece of shit, but there's something interesting about that, because and I'm getting to the part where he's introduced, because he's just like, he's being an asshole, and he's got a dance partner who turns out to be important, even more important actually, because it's Nagisa, the resistance. So yeah, she's got her whole thing. And of course we get introduced to the mysterious dragon duo who
I can't believe I didn't notice like the obvious foreshadowing.
Right? Like, I didn't actually notice it either. And, of course, when it happens, I was just like, why are they just, like, not revealing them? I guess they're just being... Oh, it was Julia's idea, that's right. Because she's... I don't know. Like, because they do reveal themselves once it gets serious. But, yeah. Yeah, because in retrospect, I'm like, should I just take the dragon thing as, like, oh, they're literally dragons. But, it's fine. Oh, yeah, but you get a flashback with Haru being mad at Branch for being an abusive piece of shit to Katalaya, who did nothing wrong. Fucker. But yeah, and then there's the practice, because Ellie's gonna enter the contest with the four-armed guy whose name I don't remember. There's so many fucking characters. Oh, yeah, and Musica has the thing with... this was... This moment reminds me of what you were talking about with Reino, because Musica is with Nagisa, and he's like, I know demon card women, and you're not one of them, because he's catching on to the fact that she's not as she seems, and he does underwear stealing shit, and I'm just like, okay, no.
Yeah, they kind of have their back and forth, like, I stole your underwear, I stole your bra, and that's like, okay.
Well, and she steals his belt, so his pants fall. So I'm like, okay, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is like a bit of a back and forth, because then even later on the blimp, I think she, at some point, somehow managed to steal from him again, and it's just like, okay, interesting character dynamic, I guess.
See, it's fun. I'm going through again, and it's like Branch is such a piece of shit, because now he's like, oh man, Garage Island, it's so shit, and then Shiva like pulls out a fucking sword on him because Shiva's there.
Yeah, because he's trying to be all impressive for the ladies. He's like, oh, I was born in a civilized city. Like, I wasn't... Garage Island is garbage trash island. And then he gets punked out by Shiba. And then he's like, well, fine, I'll leave.
Yeah, so Branch is a piece of shit, and everyone agrees. But anyway, the dance contest finally starts. And they do their things. Oh yeah, the demon card captain Horatio Sace comes in. Luis. Ugh. I'm having fucking One Piece giant Dressrosa guy flashbacks of names that I'm just like, I can't. But he comes in. He's competing too. Branch poisons the one muscle guy who now he has diarrhea and he can't he can't be in the story for like 50 fucking chapters apparently. Not that many, but like it was a lot.
Well, yeah, because there was like, while all the action was going on, there would occasionally just be cutaways to him sitting on a toilet.
Yeah, and then he comes back in the Blue Guardian. Like they're fucking invading this airship and he's just like there, like fucking he's just like shriveled up because of all the pooping he's been doing, I guess. It's just like, Jesus Christ, this poor man. But yeah,
I like how in the volume afterwards, Mashima was like, I have a little bit for this guy to do, but just a little. And like, I guess he was right.
Yep. Oh yeah, because someone asked like, when is he gonna join the team? And Mashima was like, I'm not sure about that, because he stuck around for a while, all things considered. Because they have had temporary partners like Celia too, so. But yeah, the dances go. The dragon dancers get first place with 100 points. But who says the score only goes up to 100? I do like the page, especially of when Ellie is dancing, and you see like the musicians as they are now and as they were 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, that was kind of cool. Because she's... Obviously, it turns out the dance was inspired by Reisha, so, of course, Ellie's able to do good at it. And then there's the whole Guardian Snake thing. Which is... okay, see, I realized it after I... no, it was not only this, but I read... I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, but Holic, or XXX, Triple X, I don't know. The Clamp series. Because it also had a giant Guardian Snake thing... One Piece had the Skypiea flashback had the snakes that were being worshipped. I've been playing Sekiro lately. Giant snake worshipped. So I think this is I forget the name because someone told me the name after I mentioned it. But yeah, there's definitely like snake worship in Japan, and yeah, it keeps showing up in its media. So I just noticed that because the snake becomes a thing. But,
I like how later Mashima had said, like, I couldn't remember if the snake was supposed to be good or evil. But then I just decided it doesn't really matter. And I mean, it worked in the story, like it didn't really matter. So
that's weird. I forgot about because it's that exact, like, is it good or evil? That exact question comes up in Holic. About the snake, where it's good and except the answer is like good and evil are human concepts, you know. So it's just weird that the snake's morality came up in both the ones I've been going through lately. So the manga, I mean. But yeah, she like her dance is so good that it makes the demon card guy become good, and she gets a 999. Like she almost like beats the Let and Julia by fucking a magnitude of 10. Is this dance scaling?
Oh, but yeah, I realized there was like a part of the theme conflict of this arc was kind of set up because she has the big 2-page spread where she's like doing her dance and she sprouts like wings, like angel wings, and she's like, because she's like, oh, I'm gonna have to split from the party soon, and just remember me. Like, will you promise to remember me? But then later, the big antagonist of this arc is a guy who wants to forget everything.
That's
I'm not entirely sure what the conclusion drawn from these themes are, but
yeah. Well, I mean, it also ties into the whole like change in the past thing, because Hardener's kind of similar there. Though another thing I noticed more specifically with this dance arc, mostly comparing him with her with Demon Card Beauty Boy. Well, because like Ellie was, kind of afraid of going out alone, but she was, she's going forward, even though she, again, she might be lost, like she might forget things, she might be forgotten, but like he's only focused on like his beauty, his face, what he has now. Because he's going to get old. I mean, not that was really called attention to, and maybe it could have been done a bit more, like more attention called to that idea. But that's just something I noticed. The future versus going forward, thinking of the future versus lingering on the present. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, moving on. Ellie wins, and that's right. There was a whole thing going on where Nagisa was trying to kill I think the demon card guy, right? Or
yeah, because there's the part where she's gonna snipe him, but then Ellie shoots him in the face.
Yes.
And so then like
right.
branch guy, he calms him down by throwing a mirror in his face, and it's like, stop, anger doesn't suit your beauty.
Oh yeah, and I also like the scene where Mizuka's talking with Nagisa, and he's like, "You don't have the eyes of a murderer," and she shoots him in the leg, he's like, "Nice girls don't shoot people," and bang. I'm like, damn, Nagisa's hardcore. Like fucking later on, she tries to bite her tongue, like so she'll die, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this poor girl.
Yeah, this arc, it gets into some dark, some heavy stuff.
I'm thinking. There's one particular moment later where I'm just like, Jesus, fuck, and I
almost wonder, like, did it maybe go further than it needed to? Like, it's weird, where do you draw that line in media? Like, what, based on, like, the tone that had been established, how far is too far? Because, I mean, like, Oda has had, like, crucifixions in his story, like, post-time skip, but, like, there was a lot of time building up to get to that level of intensity, so I guess you could maybe wonder, I don't know. But then it's even like, do you need to build that trust with him? It's funny when you mention that, because
it's like One Piece starts off with like, Luffy punches clown, and then it's like 500 chapters later, it's like, Luffy deals with systemic racism. So yeah, like, because I guess, it was goofier, but at the same time, like, my thing with the darkness is also like, especially because Rave has been going on for a few years at this point, and like, teenagers are gonna enjoy the edgy shit, the dark shit, so why not include it? Like, it is childish in that way, in a sense. So, I guess I'm not 100% like, oh, there should be nothing dark. I mean, not that you were saying this, but, no dark shit in kids stuff. But, see, I guess I'm more in the camp of, like, kids like dark things, like, as, it's more the parent who should be concerned with, like, with what their kids are doing and involved, so that they can add a perspective that the kid might not have, so anyway. I'm getting off topic. I forget what we were talking about.
I just thought of it from like a tonal perspective. Like had the story built, I feel like maybe it was fine. Like I don't have a huge problem with it, but I don't know. Like, is there even an argument to be made? Like, should there be like a tone set before you hit a certain point of severity with actions in a story? I don't know. It's not really something I have like a strong stance on at the moment. It's more like I'm just asking a question.
I see. Yeah. Because
something to think about in the future.
It is interesting to consider. Because I mean, like, I'm trying to think of like what, because like Hunter x Hunter and Naruto both got like darker. Like, like Hunter, like you've talked about why you like the 2011 adaptation, because it's like, oh yeah, this is like light and colorful and fun, and then it gets to York New and the color palette shifts because it gets darker, and then of course that's notwithstanding fucking Chimera Ant, which is let's get existential. So yeah. But anyway, fighting breaks out, and the dragon dancers reveal themselves as Let and Julia. And yeah, like I said, I was also not surprised back when I first read this, or I was surprised because of course they're dragons. Like, I should have made the connection, but nope, I didn't. Like, maybe if I was reading it weekly, I would have had more time to like think about it. Like, if I was like engaged in discussions on it. But Yeah.
It's also like Mashima just has introduced characters out of the blue, like on numerous occasions. So it's like I could expect that here. Like, okay, we just have 2 new characters, but no, it was actually it was cool how they got brought back into the story because it had been a while since Let fought Jagan. It had been a while since they had last shown up.
Yeah, because they went through the whole Star Vestige and they chilled for a bit. So yeah, it's not like they were separated a huge amount of time, but like as far as like weekly chapter reading goes, or even just the reading in general. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, these guys. I've been wondering where they were. But yeah, the Blue Guardians are causing shit. The resistance was going after the Raishan Seis guy because he was connected to Demon Card, but he just wanted to dance. And but yeah, Nagus is captured, and this is where she tries to bite off her fucking tongue. And I'm like, god damn. It's actually kind of weird because like the way Nagisa is like introduced as being like so hard, the resistance is actually pretty chill. So I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah,
because they're like cool dudes. But I hadn't thought about that. Because like music even says like, oh, they would they should make her kill herself if she fails. But like, I mean,
we did like find out after like later in the arc that because there had been an interaction between like her and her father, and Musica was like, whoa, hold on, you can't just say this is too dangerous after you sent her on this mission. And he's like, wait a minute, because she just did it on her own. So like you could maybe or think that she took such drastic measures purely on her own.
She was being treated differently by because she took it as gender, but really it turned out that she's actually related to she's not an orphan, unlike because that was the whole thing is like because Yuma's got the family thing going on where, oh, you're all my children, like he's Whitebeard, the mystery solved. But like yeah, but she was kind of different, like so yeah, that I guess that makes sense, more sense to me now at least. So anyway, moving on. The village, they retreated temporarily, and then this big... I like the design of this big fucking, like, monster with, like the beard and the big tail, like the scorpion thing, whatever the fuck it is. It looks cool. And then it gets fucking destroyed by the snake. So that happens. But in the Chaos Branch kidnaps Nagisa. Lots of things happening.
Yeah, because they were looking for Ellie, but he's like, I found Ellie, and it wasn't.
Yeah. Right, because he wanted to get revenge on her, because he's a piece of shit. And yeah, the Guardian Snake destroys that big old scorpion monster, which is like both the page of the monster reveal and the like snake tearing it apart, like both I thought looked really cool. Oh no, we're getting this part hurts me a bit, where because Branch, he's on the ship. The airship. Oh yeah, I think I remember hearing, because Mashima plays a lot of games, I realized, because there's a lot of airships in this manga, so of course he's a fan of Final Fantasy, which also has a lot of airships. So yeah, I forgot about that, to mention that. But yeah, Branch is pushed to torture Nagisa, and like in the moment it's like, he's awful and he's a piece of shit, but then like later on there's a moment that recontextualizes him, and I conflicted emotions, because like when they get onto the airship, Haru and Let get knocked out and put to sleep, and Musica finds Nagisa in the cell with her fucking fingernails missing, like it hurts, and Musica even when I first read Rave and was not invested in things at all, I was with Musica in this moment because I was pissed and I wanted to see someone like get hurt, because music, like there's like cool pages of Musica's just fucking, like the one where like Branch hits him across the face and he's got blood down his eye as he's like, and then later on when he's just like, I'm so angry I can't even like, you can't even put me to sleep or something like that. Like I was just like, I was in for this moment because Musica was fucking pissed, like, and I was right there with him, so it's like I don't know. What did you think?
Yeah, it was a lot. Trying to think of where I wanted to go with that. I don't remember.
Sorry, I interrupted again. or did I don't know. Because I definitely want to talk about Branch later, because this is not the end of him. Because like Branch is a shit, but I don't know. Like the things that happen later I think are neat. But yeah, so oh yeah, because that was it. Nagisa, like she was ready to die to complete her mission, but like oh no, here's these random strangers who are getting pissed and protecting you on your account, and like Julia hugs her, and I don't know, it's pretty.
I mean,
I
like
it.
there was a cool thing going through, like Nagisa's initial sort of character arc. Because I had said with Jagan, like, oh, here's this character who was like willing to die because he thought he had like nothing left to do, like he had failed. And so you kind of get like a follow up on that here with Nagisa, because like she wanted to like bite off her tongues. She was like, I failed. I might as well just die. But yet like she even goes through like all this, and then there's the the little speech with Julia where she says acquaintances get linked together. Everything on that link becomes precious. So she's just like, dying isn't an option. Like you have friends now. You're I don't know. You have friends who will protect you and stuff. It did get a cool sort of moment there.
Yeah, it was cool. And then later on, she gets the moment where she fucking jumps off the ship and Musica saves her. Like
that was pretty cool.
What are you doing?
Because he's like, oh, because she was like trying to thank him, and he's like, no, don't thank me, because like he was like trying to take the blame on himself, and she's just like, no, I'm not putting up with that, and so she just like jumps off. And he's like, well, you saved me again, so let me thank you again.
Yeah, that's a very, like, putting the blame on him, like, that's a very Musica thing to do, because I just thought about how, like, when he was talking with Reina in the Symphonia arc, he was like, oh yeah, my mentor did some shit, apparently, so yeah, kill me if it would make you feel better. Or, after he turned into the werewolf, he was like, self-loathing, I should have been able to control him. Like, yeah, so that's a very Musica thing to do.
And also, this was like the character he had been attached to in this arc. Like this was his conflict. So,
because he loves the cute girls. So yeah, that's his thing.
There's also like after the fact when they were on the blimp, there was also like an interesting conversation between them about like there was like the stars, and she's like, Musica said something about like, oh, they're all silver because like silver claimers. And then she is like, oh, they're all people. They're all locked in place, and they're locked in darkness, and they can never be together. And he's just like, that's pessimistic as hell. but then there's also like a cool moment, because he's like, well, if we are to believe what you said, and like all these stars are imprisoned, well, even then, like they still sparkle, they still shine. So it's like even the light of hope shines in everyone, and that was cool.
Yeah, it's neat stuff. Oh yeah, that's right. Moving on, they get fucking duped where they hear on the radio. It's like, oh, the resistance is located. We're gonna destroy it. And then so Nagisa's like, shit, we gotta get there to help them. And no, everything's fine.
It's also like right after they had said, like they were like, oh, we need to take her to a hospital. Should we? She was like, there's the resistance for it. But he's like, no, they might have this airship tracked. But then they did it anyway because they thought it was getting blown up. So that was kind of funny how that.
Right, and like Yumi even says, like, that's the oldest trick in the book, because he just like slaps everyone except Julia, who dodges, so he slaps like Haru again.
There were also, again, like I said about the Ravisms earlier, but over the course of this stretch, there were some more interesting one-liners, like you won't get far in this world with marshmallows for gonads. That was, I think, Julia said that one. There's Haru was fighting somebody, and he's like, "You stupid giant butt monkey." And then there's the part where, like, right before Branch has to like torture her, and he's like, "Sweet baby corn." Rave is an interesting read.
God, they're so. Yeah, it's something. So anyway, but yeah, they finally get there. Yuma, and they start having interactions with him, because like, yeah, he's leader of the resistance. They're pretty okay dudes. Because yeah, the empire's fucked, so of course there has to be other people stepping up to stop the bad guys who are all united.
But unlike Oda, Mashima doesn't take 900 plus chapters to clue us into what the resistance is doing.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, Yuma explains this whole deal because like he took in all these orphans and made a big old family. Though of course, like it's no wonder that Nagisa is treated differently because like I think he says like gender doesn't matter, but she is a girl because so she takes it as that mattering. But like she was the first, so he probably have more of an attachment to her. She's also the daughter of his friend, so there's an emotional thing there as we come to find out. So yeah. But anyway, the Blue Guardians attack with their 6 guard because there can't just be one like group of like elite dudes who are in a bigger organization that are named 6. So I don't know why that specific number, but I just thought it was funny. Just realizing it now. Though these guys are themed, the Eration Seis doesn't have a theme, or well they do, elements I guess. But that's not in their names. These guys are all named after animals. So yeah.
I don't think it would be. I don't really think gender was much of a theme over the course of this arc. But there were just a lot of like interesting moments where it was brought up. I'm not really sure what the payoff was for it because like you have the part where they start the invasion on the fort and they're like. Yeah, what is it? Musica's like, wow, I couldn't kick a girl. And Let is like, yeah, I'm still holding back. And then the guy is like, enemies are genderless, you cowards. And then later, later you do have like Julia fighting guys and like, beating the shit out of them. But even then she's like, I pull my punches with girls. So I don't know. It's interesting. Cause like even the girls are like supposedly pulling their own punches against each other. I don't know.
Yeah, because Ellie's whole big moment is she takes off the bracelet that was limiting her and uses her magic on her own. So, because it was there to like hide her location, but still.
Yeah, like it's definitely not saying that like I think Mashima has been. I think Mashima has been okay with like giving the female characters things to do and not having them portrayed as like lesser because like I said like you have. A character like Julia like beating up guys, so it's like there is a good there's a good
she comes in the
balance
picture
there.
And she's actually she's like actually like a strong fighter and she's tough and kind of cool, so which is definitely different compared to the other because like Ellie's been around for a while, like she's had her moments, but she I wouldn't describe her as strong even though she has a Therion.
I was gonna say she is a good contrast to Ellie, who like Ellie is also like kind of I don't know if I'd say plot device, but you kind of get what I mean in that like she's the one everyone is like trying to go after because she has a Therion and that's like a big thing. So like her like needing to be protected makes sense. But like she also does get her own fight. So I don't know. I think I'm just rambling more than I need to at this point. I think I've said what.
That's fine. It's better than me interrupting you and you not saying anything. But anyway, so yeah, the attack starts. They divide up. Because they have to deal with all their shit. Here's that. I believe this is the Ruby moment later. Because we get with the big guy who puts people to sleep. He basically fights Let and Ruby. What did you think about this?
Of course, Ruby being an idiot is like he's like, you use your attack, use your special attack, and he's like, it didn't work last time, and why would I use it? And he's like, it's. Because he's like, last time he blocked it or whatever, and he's like, so I can flip it back on you. And it's like, you idiot, you just revealed your plan. But then, of course, that's what ends up happening later. Like, he comes back, and, Let is fighting.
That's like my kind of thing with it. That's kind of sad, is because, like, he wants to be useful. Like, Ruby wants to help his friends. But when he does help his friends, he actually makes it worse. And then but it does I think Let said it after then oh yeah, no, I still needed you. Or what was it?
Well, because there was the part where he put the guy to sleep and then he did his sleep fighting. But then he came back and took a hit, and after taking a hit, he went unconscious, so it's he couldn't detect him, and that gave away the secret.
Right. So I just feel a little sad for Ruby because it was his moment this arc, but he only did it on accident. Like, the stuff he did on purpose, he fucked up and ruined everything. But on accident, he helped save the day. And that's kind of sad to me, I guess.
I can see that.
Like he can't help on purpose. Sorry, Ruby, you're not that useful. So, I don't know, maybe we'll get a moment later. But there was one I forgot, because Ruby's just, yeah. But at least he's getting attention to his character. Like, maybe it'll build up into a more of an arc later. Like, but none that I recall.
It's good that he's still at least getting kind of something to do. Heaven knows we don't need any more Griffs or Star Guy, who, again, we have not mentioned because he does nothing.
Right, like I was flipping through and I saw him in one chapter. And I'm like, oh yeah, this guy. I forgot about him.
I swear, again. Like, everything that the character says, like, you could just have someone else say and it would make sense.
Yeah, probably. Going ahead, there's this fight, Julia versus the dog. The pervert villains, like, I get it, you know, they're like, it's the Sword Online thing where it's like, but at the same time, it's just like, yeah, I get it, we're not supposed to like this guy because they're a pervert, but it's just like kind of lame characterization, like when you see it, because this is not the first character we've had like this, because we've also had Ogre, off the top of my head, and we've probably had more too, but I guess there's more gender stuff because he's like, women are weak and Julia is strong and beats him.
I like the quote where I'm pretty sure this quote is... No, yeah, it would be from her, because this is incredibly something she would say. She's like, having a nice butt doesn't mean I can't kick yours. And it's also like, it's one of those one-liners, and you know I like my one-liners, so it's cool.
Yeah. Though this topic, because it's like, it's something I might want to talk about in the future.
Yeah, like the reason... I think part of the reason why I feel like touching on it at least now is because, like, I've heard things about Fairy Tail with how female characters are used, and so, like, I would hate to go into it thinking that, like, oh, Rave Master was better.
Yeah, see, I actually, like, there's definitely some iffy things about Fairy Tail that I'm probably actually going to bring it up right now because it's what I think is interesting about sort of, like, how, because these stories are aimed at boys, you know, and they're going to, you know, and many of them do include attractive female characters, especially, you know, the Mashima, you know, he, like, his art style is something at this point that I could actually call attractive, where earlier he might have had some difficulties. So, like, one thing I need to, like, think about and maybe even do research into, because, like One Piece is another example because I find it interesting. And obviously, like, this would be my own, like, personal interpretation of what is considered, like sexual. But I would say, like, looking at One Piece, if you compared, like, the moments of Nami and Robin being sexually assaulted by Absalom to, like, I remember the Whole Cake Island bath scenes with Nami. I would say those are more sexual than, like, the Absalom one. And, you know, and so here you have Julia, who's, like, for part of the fight, she, like, rips her own clothes that are being defeated and then wins. So it's like, I feel like it's probably better if the series, like, sexualizes, you know, the woman who's in control rather than sexualizing the woman who's vulnerable. And Fairy Tail definitely has that issue where we will read it, and that was pretty much kind of what my video, my part 3 of the tirade was about, though gotten across poorly because I probably didn't know enough of what I was talking about. So it's just like, I guess that's the thing I've been thinking about, is like how these series like frame the sexual elements of their female characters, because I think it's probably better to, you know, have sexual empowerment framed positively over, you know, like, oh, look at how hot this vulnerable woman is, you know, like with the Nagisa torture scene, like you couldn't see, like, he didn't focus on, like, you could see the silhouette of her, like, her legs, but yeah,
like, she was, like, covered in shadow, so it's not like,
yeah, and after that, like, there was, like, no focus on her body at all, really, like, it was because she was, you know, it wasn't framed in a way that made her look sexual, even though she was, like, in this, and it probably would have, like, messed with my personal take on the scene,
yeah,
you know, because it's like, well, now I'm being distracted by the boobs when I should be feeling bad for this character who's had some horrible shit happen to her, you know, so it's just a topic I've been thinking about, because you also get, like, series that are like Naruto or even like Hunter x Hunter, where, like, they just don't have a lot of female sexuality in them at all. For the like Naruto had like some like Tsunade has boobs, Hinata has boobs.
Like there would be some like Jiraiya pervy moments.
Yeah, but even then, it's just very, very little overall compared to, you know, like Raven One Piece, where female characters have a lot of sexuality, you know? So it's just something I've been thinking about for a while now.
See, I think
I'll probably think about going forward.
Like you had mentioned One Piece earlier, and I do think that's kind of like an interesting difference between Nami and Robin. Is like Nami is someone who very much like flaunts her good looks and like tries to use that to her advantage. So she's very much like in control. Yes. And I remember seeing like a discussion about this topic like through the lens of video games, which is a bit different because like with video games you're like actively participating in the narrative like as a player character.
The player is in control, and so video games and sexuality definitely have a relationship, but it is a different one.
So there's like there's a way like when it comes to like reading characters is like does the character have like agency over what's happening versus like. But then also, like, it is a work of fiction, like, created by someone, and it's designed to cater towards a certain demographic. So, like, with video games, I think it's a bit different because, as I said, like, there is a player character, so you're, like, actively participating in the narrative depending on how it's framed.
Yeah.
But with, like, a story, you're more, like, passively consuming it. So I'm not entirely sure, like, where the distinction would kind of lie.
Right. Well, because that's kind of that distinction is important because, like, I definitely feel like there are people, like with My Hero Academia, you know, like there are people who just don't like the fact that there are sexually, like, the female characters who are like 15 or 16 are drawn sexually, and like, you know, but shouldn't we be allowed to explore like sexuality in stories? Shouldn't children have an avenue to explore? Like, there are children reading this, like, you know, so. Because, like, I don't know,
that could open up a whole other can of worms of like, you know, like assuming that,
and there's also the cultural difference too. So, or what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say there's like, it's like a weird kind of like backwards, not backwards. What's the word I'm looking for? There's like an interesting dichotomy with how sexuality is in media. Like, on one hand, like, are we to assume that like teenagers don't experience anything like related to sexuality until they're like an adult? That doesn't happen. So like how is that able to be portrayed in media but also like not in a way that like exploits that? I guess that's the conflict there.
That's right. And because another thing is the culture difference, because like
that as well.
Like, I don't know about you, but growing up, I struggle to think of like explicit or anything related to sexuality and stuff aimed at like my age group. Like, cartoon art styles are not like they're deliberately desexualized, I'd almost say. Like, not that people don't sexualize them, but like compared to like this, which is a series I would expect to be read by a Japanese like 10-year-old, you know, where there's like boobs and look at how naked I am. Like Julia, there's one moment where Julia like flaunts her sexuality to Griff and to you know, mess with him. Like, she like just teases taking off her bikini top, and it's like that's kind of stuff that would never fly in an American story, you know, because
or at least not with like this target
so it's
audience.
Like there's a cultural difference to account for too. Like, because I mentioned before, like, you know, childish or perversity is seen as childish, so this is something that's kind of accepted in fictional stories where, you know, so it's an interesting topic, but it's also one that, you know, cultural differences need to be accounted for when discussing it too. So it's like I said, I'm interested in it. It's just a matter of how am I going to go about discussing it if I do in a video, which I might, but it's like there's like a few topics to cover too. So yeah. But yeah, it's just something I've been thinking of, and this Julia fight would be relevant to that, because she wins by taking control of her own sexuality, and that's interesting in a way. I think, you know, I don't like the antagonist at all. I'm not supposed to, but he is kind of old at this point. Like, this is the trope for me personally, but it's there. So yeah. So anyway, moving on. There's some other fighting. Oh no. A robot appears, and it turns out to be Branch. That's what I reacted to when I saw, because this is when the art gets really fucking heavy. For me, at least. Oh, God. Oh, yeah, I'm skipping ahead, because there's a moment where Ellie falls, and she finds the staff, that, a plot-relevant staff that Yuma was keeping. But yeah, she uses it because she wants to protect everyone. She's you know, getting into her magic more.
Yeah, she's like,
they'll still through this like or
There's
go
a
on.
little moment where she says, I thought I didn't have the power to protect anyone, but I had it backwards. Power comes when you want to protect something.
Yeah, yes, the friendship power,
Yeah.
of course. She finally taps into it. But yeah, though also thinking about the moment later, she also like she can only so she has that like mentality, but she's still only doing it through this staff, and later on she's able to do it with just her normal guns that she's always had. So yeah, okay, we're okay, yes, here we are. Holy shit. Okay, we finally get to the moment I've wanted to talk about. So Haru is fighting the robot, and he attacks him, and his mask breaks, and it's Shuda, or it's not Shuda. Why did I say Shuda? It's Branch. I'm mixing up my names. What the fuck?
Shuda, what are you doing?
I don't know. Yeah, so Branch has been like, his body has been removed, and he's been made into not just a cyborg, but as we find out, he has a bomb inside of him. And he wants to die. He begs Haru to kill him, and I'm like, this is where I'm like, oh fuck, this hurts. So, like, I don't know, what did you think about it? Because like, this guy was a piece of shit, but I don't know, how did you feel? Because there's one thing he said, but I want to hear what you think first.
Yeah, these kind of redemption arcs can be a little tricky. Like, obviously there was not enough room in the narrative for him to like have an ongoing character arc of like becoming a better person. Like it all gets kind of like wrapped up pretty quickly. And I've talked before about like how like in Naruto with some of the villains, like how they seem to like make a kind of like split second change based on like events in the story, and like the sort of like optimistic ideal that people can improve if they are given the time. Although like in this case he's not really given much time, but it gives you like
that. Well, that's the thing, that's kind of his issue, because he doesn't because like the line that he gives, that where it's like, is that he says like he's not strong like Haru, he's weak. So it's like, because power is pretty important to shonen stories, and like Haru's always been this character who finds power, who gets better, who overcomes. But Branch was weak, like, so he was a piece of shit, but he was always a piece, and he was just being pushed around. Like, if you remember during the Nagisa torture scene, he was crying, like, so he's not necessarily, like, he was indulging himself there, but he also didn't want to do it to some level, but he did it because he's a pushover, he's weak, he just does what he's told, and now he's basically, like, lost, like, all of his, like, most of his humanity, and now he's got a bomb inside of him, so it's like, this is just sort of the end, like he's sort of the anti, like he's the complete opposite of like the shonen character almost, because he's just the weak pushover who does nothing, and this is the end result of that, is just this fucking, he wants to die, and I was just like, what the fuck, oh god, this is that, it hurts, because like, he was such a piece of shit, and now here he is.
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
So,
I got a bit of a
he kind of got what he deserved, but there's also kind of like a tragedy in that, because he never really got the chance to improve.
Right, because he never changed. He ended up being this. Oh god, like he. The part where he's like, I want to die, but Haru, and then Haru of course doesn't kill him, and he's like, no, he's like, you're still human, and he gets pissed at the people who did this to him. And then later on, he talks about the bomb, but he doesn't say the bomb is inside of him, because obviously Haru would react to that. So he basically like lets himself die. I don't know, man. It makes me feel things in ways I did not fucking expect from Rave Master.
Rave Master is good.
This arc is good. I dare to say. At least this part is good. Oh damn. So yeah, I just had to get that out. I've been saving it up.
No, yeah, this definitely was like the heaviest arc in the series thus far, and it was pretty good. Like, I think this was overall, it was a good moment, because like, well, yeah, I kind of already said it. Like, it would have been cool to. No. It's cool when you have a character like this slowly improve over time, because maybe you can buy more into. Because I could see someone see this and just like, no, he was a piece of shit. Like, he got what he deserved, because like, yeah, he did do some pretty messed up things. And like in a different story, you could have a character start from a place like that and slowly kind of like earn your trust over time by getting better and redeeming themselves. And that has been done before. There have been characters who have had that kind of redemption arc. Like, I kind of think of Gaara in Naruto. Like, I keep bringing up Naruto now. but like
Yeah. Oh,
he murders people as a child, and he's like
Yeah.
one of the biggest antagonists early on. And then like over the course of the story, like he gets better. He has time to improve and become the leader of his own village, and then eventually he's the leader of like the shinobi army. So like he gets his time to improve as a person.
Right.
And it's more gradual.
So redemption arcs can be cool.
So yeah, I'd say I was fine with this. I liked it.
Yeah, I like it too. So anyway, moving on. So yeah, Haru beats up the koala guy who steals the staff that they need for the endless thing.
I like the part where he gets like super angry at him, and he's like, "You'll know when I'm hurting you." And then he like the koala starts crying, and then he's like, "Okay, I won't do it again." And then like as he's crying and walking off, he like grabs the staff and forms his plane and flies off. But he's still like crying as he leaves.
Right, so it's like almost like he's like pretending to do it, but he's actually really crying, but he's also like cognitive enough to actually do that. So it's like, what the fuck? Okay. Yeah, that was a moment. Oh yeah, and they get a death fake out where Yuma shoots Ellie because she pulled off the staff, but no, it was just a tranquilizer dart. He needs to get her unconscious so that she can't be tracked. So yeah. And then Branch warns them about the bomb, and he warns them that they have to escape, basically. The Blue Guardians, they believe they have Ellie and the staff, so they they also said no, that was it. They said that Ellie isn't the only one who can use the Therion, which is wrong, but they don't know that. So yeah, and then they leave, and Branch dies because he has the bomb inside of him. And we're almost into the last part. So yeah, moving on. They're on Yuma's ship. They gotta chase down Hardener. He gives some exposition on what the staff is, since it can summon Endless, which is what Hardener wants. Oh yeah, we do get a little bit of Belnica, who's important for this stretch, or this further rest of the arc. Oh yeah, that's right. Haru just runs into her in the middle of town, and she heals him, and see, like, Haru's got like obviously like Ellie's the one he has the most relationship with, but here you have another character who loves him. See, and I guess there's the jokes where like she acts intimately with him, and he's just like, wow, thanks. Like but everyone else reacts because like at the end, I think there was a moment like that. But yeah, they keep going. Belnica gets the staff, and we get Hardener, his reveal finally visually, I think. Oh yeah, what did you think about when, like, later on when it was revealed that Nagisa was Hardener's daughter? Because, like, I'm going through and there's this moment where she's like, I want to be accepted by, Dad, because I'm the only woman. And he's like, no, it's not because you're a woman, it's because you're... And ominous drop of the point, even. So, I don't know. Did you have any thoughts about it, or was it just like, oh yeah, that's the thing, okay, sure.
Yeah, that's kind of it.
Fair enough. But yeah, they use an old ship to try and break in, but Hardener notices, though they manage to get on anyway, because Belnica noticed that, or she felt Haru's presence. Oh, that's right, that's right. Because they get on the ship, and there's all the defeated Blue Guardians, and they're like, whoa, who did this? I sense heat and cold. So at first they think it's like Shuda and other demon card guy who uses ice. Oh yeah, I guess ice factors into the thing I noticed before, where he, keeping things as they are. He likes his beauty, his face, so ice is something that freezes, preserves.
Hey.
So yeah, didn't think about that. But yeah, oh, that's right. We get more of the racism stuff because they go into the mystic realm where all the Centinoids live, like dragons and demons and the plant people. Because Hardener is, he's going to use Endless to destroy everything, but I guess the idea is that, because, like, the men believe something differently, so, if Endless is there, then, it's just these Centinoids that are killed, no one cares, so that, and obviously, the good guys are not okay with that. But yeah, everyone starts moving to get things going as, okay, that's what that was, because there was another part where, Shuda's, he uses the Star Vestige fragment to see the past and the people who are beating up, killing everyone, and yeah, he sees Lucia in the like a silhouette of him. I was gonna make a joke about, oh my god, it's Monkey D. Dragon, because he's got like a hood over his thing.
He's
so
there.
I thought that was funny. Yep, but it's yep.
The mystery surrounding the
Lucia,
Revolutionary Army goes so deep that they even show up in Rave Master.
Yes, but yeah, because I saw that and I was like, who is this again? But it was Lucia, because he comes in at the end and stabs Hardner. So, because for not being evil enough or whatever it was. But yeah, Belnica goes to fight the intruders, and of course she runs into Haru again.
Yeah, because like the koala guy shows up again and like dismantles the, because like the group is all together, right. And then like the koala like dismantles the floor and they just like all fall.
Yeah.
But then the koala's like, oh, I'm so clever, and then shadowy guy shows up behind him who turns out to be Lucia, and bleh.
Yes.
He.
Rest in peace, Koala Man.
We hardly knew ye.
Yep.
There was also like another cool moment with like Julia again gets another cool moment where like the girls are they got split off and they were up against this group, and the guys are like, whoever the minion people they're up against are like, wow, but they're kind of cute. And then Julia flies in and drop kicks the guy in the face. Is like, my charm will not be summed up with kinda.
Julia's
so again,
yes.
It's like it's another one of those moments where like the evil minion people are kind of like being like, you know, there's I don't know if derogatory is the word I'm looking for, but like there's, you know, when someone like they use cute to like denotate like, oh, they're not much of a threat. But then like Julia comes
right.
in and like kind of reclaims that, like they're like, oh, they're cute, and then you know Julia's defending her charm and she's like, no, I'm more beautiful than that. So like,
yes,
I don't know, on top of having her moment of taking out the minion guys, it's again like going into that stuff. I don't know.
And yeah, she also runs off. She's also using it as an excuse to kind of run off because she doesn't want to see how she doesn't want them to see her being so pissed because they're, you know, planning to destroy the Mystic Realm, her home. So she's like, oh, I don't want anyone to see this face because she's mad. But yeah, Belnica's like, because she's been led to believe that the Blue Guardians are guardians and not destroyers. Like, you know, she's like, oh, shouldn't we be destroying Endless? But obviously Hardner's got other plans. And so, yeah, when she meets, you know, she had no perspective and she meets Haru and he's not that bad. So it's like, well, maybe we are wrong. So she kind of questions that. And
yeah, why are they the Blue Guardians if they don't even guard anything?
Right. Like, because like there's so much, like, because Julia knocks out one of the guys and he's like, we're not doing anything bad. We're just going to, you know, potentially wipe out 5 billion lives, to destroy Endless because they're just monsters. Pieces. Ignorant.
Also,
idiot.
I don't know if this is just the translation or if it's like a Mashima thing, but like how all the organizations are abbreviated to letters. So like Demon Card is DC, Blue Guardians are BG, and so like I feel like more often, like I feel like BG popped up more than actual like Blue Guardians in the text.
See, I'm assuming, like, it could be a, because I've seen text referred to in, like, Roman letters in, you know, the original, like, raw translations, so it might have been, but in this case, like, because I would assume it's being used to shorten the long name, because they do it, like, Demon Card 2, so that they can have more room to work with the rest of the text in the bubble, because Japanese obviously wouldn't have that issue, because the bubble was originally written to fit the Japanese text, you know, so... he could make the bubble as big or small as he wants it to fit all the words he wants to. So yeah, I'm assuming it's a translation thing.
Just thought it was interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, Julia fights Leopard, and she ends up getting defeated. As the ship enters the Mystic Realm. Oh yeah, you said it kind of sets up one of the things, because again, it's still about friendship because of course it is, but because like. You know, repeating themes is fine because, like, you know, sometimes, like, you know, that's how you build the end message. But, like, in this case with, like, because comparing this to the Doryu stuff, you know, it is both about, like, you know, friendship versus alone, you know, but, like, how it's handled with like especially the main fights against the main antagonists is like a bit different because with Doryu it's framed as light and dark. Doryu he wanted to be in the light but he was pushed to the dark. He was pushed to be alone. So Well, with Hardener it's kind of like more of like carrying Will onward, I suppose. Like because Julia she loses and she's like I want to protect this world but I don't have the strength. So Haru takes that strength. And it especially comes into play with the Hardener fight because Let fights and weakens Hardener, who believes himself to be infinite. I have infinite regeneration, which doesn't turn out to be the case. And Haru's able to because he thinks he's endless, but he's not. And Haru sort of takes that and ends up being able to win because of Let's efforts before. So it's like he's still able to have a one-on-one fight. But it still works with the friendship thing I think there were some other things I noticed. I forget. But I just wanted to bring that up now because it factors into Julia's line. So
I know there's a particular quote from Musica when he's fighting the one guy. And he says, the power of friendship isn't as lame as you think. And so I'm going to save that for later because, I don't know, people...
That's just like the motto of Mashima's whole mangography is the power of friendship isn't
there's
lame.
that, but that's also
he loves it.
It's a Shonen Jump thing, but it's also just a very anime thing. And people will sometimes talk... They'll be like, oh, that's a bad thing. The power of friendship isn't... It's a repetitive... It's not a good theme. So I'm hanging on to this screen cap for later just so I can be like, no, you dummy.
Yeah, that's fair. Because, I like seeing it explored in different ways because I do like the theme. Obviously, One Piece's take with it is more about family than straight up, friendship.
Yeah.
So, I just rewatched Place for the Universe. Hella about friendship, and it was good. So, yeah. I don't mind seeing the same themes again and again and again. Because I know that, and I know that because I'm probably going to be talking about some of the same themes in my main videos again and again and again. Just watch me. So yeah. But yeah, moving on. They relay the plan to Yuma, and he has some flashbacks of the two of them when they were younger. Because Hardener is Hardener's motivation is kind of weird because it's he's also got the flashback thing, the past that he wants to change, but he also he's I could claim the sky, the sea, the earth, everything. So he's kind of greedy, I guess, but he also recognizes that his greed is impossible to fulfill. But his logic jump from there is I'll just destroy everything. So then I'll claim it. He's claiming it by destroying it, I guess. I don't know about that, how that factors into some of the other stuff, but it's there, I guess. Oh, and of course tying directly into the changing the past thing. He asks, "What would you do if you could be born again?" And of course, later on, he goes to the altar of rebirth, to summon Endless, and it's just oh gee, I wonder if this is a thing. So yeah, but yeah, Belnica tries to confront Hardener. It doesn't work because he's bad. He's a bad guy. But yeah, they get there. Or the ship gets there. The Yuma breaks in to confront Hardener. They sort of touch on their backstory, their shared backstory with another woman who died. Because that seems to be another recurring thing. Because it reminds me of this reminded me of King and Gale with Sakura, Gale's wife. Because it's you have two former friends who stopped being friends because a woman died. No, actually, it was King with King. It was also his family, but it just made me think of things. So,
yeah, and then again, there was it's also similar to Let and Jagan because there was Julia that they kind of fought over.
Mm-hmm. That is true. Yeah. But yeah, Yuma and the two resistance members who came with him get beat. Well, of course, it's a death fake out because Yuma gets shot in the head, but he's okay. Because it's a ceramic fiber bandana. See, it's funny because I guess that makes a little more sense because in the original translation I read it was just a ceramic bandana, and of course when I think ceramic, my thought is bowls. So I'm how does that work? I don't understand.
I put plastic around my head and it blocked the bullet.
Is it just a helmet that somehow blocked a bullet? Yeah, I don't get it. So ceramic fiber doesn't make it much better, but I guess it's slightly better. But yeah, the other members are moving through the airship, trying to find out what's going on, or trying to find. And then we get the full fight with Leopard, the girl who beat Julia, and Ellie has her moment with where she's gonna. I can already use magic. Belnica tries to defeat Hardener. It doesn't work. That's right. Haru comes in to save her, and that's right. They both end up getting dropped into the mystic realm below. Oh, that's right. Belnica does not actually have a Therion after all. Sad. Did you have any thoughts about that? Because it is a bit of a fake out. Because she could use a Therion. Oh wait, not really. She was just using the residual power that Ellie had in the staff, I guess. So that happened.
I mean, it was fine.
Who was it in the stretch chapters or the last one where they were able to restore wounds from the it was in this one, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Hardener. He's able to, because he restores things. So he rebuilt the city that used to be there that had what they need to do the endless thing, and he was also restoring Let's and Haru's wounds. So yeah, that's I'll mention that later actually, because I was just trying to remember when that was, because for some reason I was thinking it was from last time with Doryu. But anyway, yeah, Haru and Belnica fall, and then they get captured by some of the demons, or the Mystic Realm folks that are living there. Who, of course, from their perspective, all the humans are invaders, even though it's more complicated than that. So they end up needing to convince the others, that the plant people, that they're good, which they do, I think. Yeah, someone comes to save them later. And there's the moment you talked about. The power of friendship isn't as lame as you think. Definitely save that one. It's good. Yeah, I don't remember if Musica Musica fights a guy and he beats him. I don't remember if, Reina. He's because Reina, he's got the spirit of Reina with him, so he's not. I don't know. It happened. Musica's fights are not as good for some reason for me. I guess I don't think I've particularly liked any of his battles. Except maybe the Reina one. That was with Ogre. That was better.
Yeah, the Reina one was probably the more memorable.
At least his most standout one, all things considered. But there was also Let goes up to fight Hardener, while Julia fights the one acid guy. I did like her fight, how it ended was kind of cool, where she kills him by making him turn into acid in midair and dissipate, which is fucking Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the Mashima's fights aren't super technical. Most of the time they're not technical at all.
No,
but that was a cool little trying to figure out how to beat this guy with the power, and then just dissolve in the air. Bye.
Yeah, it actually a reasonable way to take care, because he does have a really strong ability, but it was actually an interesting way as to how it got how he got taken down. So it was cool. But yeah, then we get Let versus Hardener, where Hardener believes himself to be immortal, and Let because I'm trying to think if I can't pull anything meaningful out of, because I do think it's interesting that he makes the characters experience the wounds that they had in the past, because they're the ones who they were hurt in the past, just like the antagonists, but they grew from it. Where Hardener he's trying to run from his past, so he regenerates all of his wounds. So how the fuck is it's weird, because I think of Fairy Tail, and maybe I'll notice stuff when I reread it, but I don't think Fairy Tail is as good with linking powers to the actual thematic conflicts or characters or anything like that. Sometimes they're the main character is hot-headed, so he's got fire powers, but usually it's not but with Rave, so maybe I'm hoping that I notice more stuff rereading it, because I'm noticing a lot of little things with Rave that I go oh, neat, so I like it when the powers matter to the actual conflicts and stuff. It's cool. Even in Rave, which I'm overall it's it's maybe it'll squeak out a 5 out of 10. I'm not looking forward to the rest of the stretch, but this arc was good. So it's still at a 4. So it's still improved a lot from the 1 out of 10 it used to be from my first read through. But yeah, I just saying I like that how Hardener's power it works with the thing, everything. It's cool. But yeah, Hardner beats Let. Haru breaks out of the cage, and Julia comes down to save them. And they see, like, Haru's pissed off because Julia's hurt, and they're like, whoa, he's showing sympathy for one of the Mystic Realm. That means he might be different than all these shitty humans that are fucking invading and trying to destroy us. So they let him go so he can go fight Hardner. And then we get the last part of the fight. Oh, and Endless comes in, that's right. Forgot about that. Actually, that's kind of interesting. Like, what did you think about the last fight? Because, like, I think it's kind of neat because you have, like, both Haru and Ellie. Like, Ellie is dealing with, like, Endless. Like, she's, you know, because she's using her power to, like, freeze it temporarily. And, whereas Haru's actually trying to defeat the main antagonist. So it's like, you got a couple things going on. That's kind of neat. Did you have any thoughts about the final encounter in general? Or
it was fine.
Yeah, I don't think I had anything specific yet. I think, and I already mentioned a lot of it too. Like earlier, I was like, oh, Hardner believed his power was infinite, but he was wrong. You know, he thought his power was endless. Wink, wink, wink. Yeah, but of course it wasn't. So, like, even endless is like something that's potentially killable. And well, it also reminds me, I think yeah, Zoro said it during Dressrosa, where he's like, you know, every power has its limits, you know, because he was like, Doflamingo's not a god, you know, his birdcage is strong, but he was right, it could be stopped. So of course, like Hardner, like, yeah, even if it's Sinclair, you know, a really powerful Darkbring, it's not you know, it's not endless. So you know, Haru's able to you know, carry on that will that Let, you know, used from exhausting him, and like, you know, Haru wouldn't have been able to beat him alone, even though he's still fighting in a one-on-one fight. So it's neat, it's cool. And then yeah, they destroyed the disc thing and stop Hardner's plan. And then we get a bigger flashback. So yeah, slightly bigger. It wasn't that big in the first place, but yeah.
It's not the size of the flashback that matters. It's
it's the emotions. So yeah, then Yuma comes in, and you know, he was fine. He didn't die. Very big surprise. And he tells Hardner that his daughter was still alive. You know, not you know, and that it was Nagisa. So, because see now, like, the past that Hardner was trying to reject, there's something good there. Like, so now, of course, so I guess it makes sense that his tune would change, because, you know, if he forgot his past, like, oh no, there goes his daughter. So, you know, he's not alone. Of course, he doesn't, like, take his daughter and leave, like, he's, you know, but he lets her exist. But, and because he kind of goes off on his own, at the end. So, which is kind of surprising, because he's, like, still, like, because Doryu's gone, King's gone, like, most of the big antagonists for, like, these longer arcs end up gone. So, like, Lucy's been antagonist a couple times, but he's still around and a bad guy. But yeah, Hardner's alive, but not present. So yeah, because yeah, Lucia comes in and stabs him. And he basically comes in to gloat, pretty much, and show, look how much stronger I am, because he's got a new sword, and he's just an asshole. And yeah, the arc's pretty much done. Like, we got some cooldown. But all the fighting happened. Yay. See, I'm like looking at my old notes and like looking at the level I like wasn't paying attention, because I was like, but why didn't Yuma just tell Hardner that he had a daughter like right away? But it's like, I don't think he necessarily like outright knew exactly what Hardner's fucking deal was, because like he said some weird shits before any of that happened, like oh yeah, can't I just own everything? What if I was just reborn? Like, he was saying that before all the bad things happened, and then like they basically like just encountered and Yuma got shot like immediately. So I'm just like, I don't know, past me was stupid. But yeah, they have a party, classic party with the plant people. I like the one panel of like Julia, she's like ready to dance, but she's like spurting blood out of her head because she's still wounded. Yeah. Like,
booze before snooze, as she says.
And funny, it was only that panel that made me, because one thing what you'll find out when we read Fairy Tail, but Mashima likes to like reiterate or reuse aspects of like his designs or characters, which, like I've said before, it's like I'm interested to see how you feel about it, because for me, I'm like, oh, this character in Rave is like this character in Fairy Tail. But for you, it's going to be obviously the intended thing of like, oh, this character's in Rave, like, or I forget what I said, but it's like, I'm obviously like, Fairy Tail came first for me, so that's going to be first in my brain, where Rave is second, but for you, you're reading through Rave now, and you'll read through Fairy Tail next, so, like this booze line made me think about a character from Fairy Tail called Kana, and I'm like, oh, maybe there's, some similarities, and like, just, the hair color is different, but not, like, are the faces similar? I don't know. But yeah, I'm just thinking about it now, the connection between the two characters from two different works and how similar they are in some ways. So yeah. Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah, Hardner gets healed, or I think, yeah, he asks Yuma to, because he asks Yuma to protect Nagisa because, like, yeah, even though his daughter's still alive, he's not. It's Yuma who raised her pretty much. So he like lets that go. So that's neat. Then that about finishes the Blue Guardians arc, but there's like one more chapter of like build up to the final stuff, because Shiba meets Shiba goes to find he runs into someone, and it turns out like it's Alpine Spaniel, the last of the four knights. Oh, that's why I remember a while ago I was like, oh, the Guardians, the Shiva's four dudes. And I was mixing them up because they're called the Knights of the Blue Sky, so I think I mentally connected those to the Blue Guardians. Even though they're different. So, because they're knights, but they guard things like the Rave pieces, and they're blue sky, so Blue Guardians, right? I don't know. I'm dumb.
Was a very One Piece-esque chapter where like the arc had just ended, and it's like, here's the goings on in the other part of the world.
Because yes, now Shiva and Spaniel are waiting for Haru to get the last, the final trial for Rave. You get they're joined by two silhouettes. I feel like I know who these people are, but did you want to guess, or do you even care? Did you think about it at all?
Oh, the two silhouettes. I don't even remember what they looked like.
Yeah, that's fair, because one of them has bunny ears, because I'm pretty sure it's Alice, the old dude, with the potions and stuff. The other one has a hammer and a sword. Pretty sure it's Old Man Musica.
I just assumed that they were going to be new characters, because Mashima does that. But okay. No, that's actually cool.
Yeah, that's fair. And Oda does that too with, like, he loves its silhouettes, so it's completely understandable that you see a silhouette and you're like, new character, but no, in this case I think he's trying to hide old characters. So, because I don't remember I'm assuming, because they're both old guys, and I know Musica has a connection to Shiva because he built the Ten Commandments, the sword. I don't remember if Alice did, but I wouldn't be surprised because he's old. Alright, so, and for the last moment of the arc, Belnica, Haru's like, let's go, and she's part of the crew. She joins the Straw Hats
because we don't have enough characters. See, this arc, I mean, right. It was a huge arc, but now we like. Well, I guess there's also like Julia had joined before, but like we went from there was like Musica, Let, Haru, and Ellie, and then like the mascot characters. There were like 4 people, and now we have like we also added Julia. And then there's Bell...
And now Belnica, yes. So, because, like, looking at this page... Yeah, the star is still with them, god damn it! Like, because I was about to say, because he's not in this first big panel, he's not there, but then he's in there with all the mascot characters, like Griff, Plu, and Ruby. Oh, and the horse! The weird bunny horse with the shaking head is in the I didn't even think about him! I mean, mostly the cast is so big because they have fucking 5 mascot characters. Including Ruby, who's like the least mascotty, but he's kind of. So it's just like, but yeah, they do. You're right. They added 3 this arc because there was the Imperial Guard 4-armed guy who was temporary and Nagisa who was temporary, but they still added like 3 with the starfish who was introduced at the very beginning, Julia, and now Belnica. So yeah. Wonderful.
See, and now I'm remembering that like Fairy Tail is a story with a giant guild. So I'm like, oh, this is where it started.
Yeah, see, we'll see what Fairy Tail's like in a month. We're gonna be reading Fairy Tail. Wonderful. Ah! All right, so yeah, that about does it for the arc. final thoughts on this stretch of chapters, if you have anything you didn't say.
It was not as much of a slog as I thought it would be. It started off that way. Like, it was really hard to get into at first because of basically everything pre-Sieg was like, oof.
Yeah, I was not a fan of the Star Vestige. Like, I did, like, there were some moments that were okay, but, yeah, I like it. Before I would, like, last time I read this manga, I would have called it, like, one of my least favorite arcs ever. Now it's just eh. So again, my opinions are still improving. The Sieg fight was good. I got some neat stuff out of it, and Blue Guardians was legit. Like, oh yeah, I'm reading it, and I'm enjoying myself. Like, it's still got the rave dumbness, but it's also got some neat stuff that's cool. So yeah, I'm at some level of enjoyment now. I'm not particularly looking forward to the next stretch of chapters, but hopefully that and hopefully again my opinion improves. There's just a lot of stuff I'm
looking forward to the next stretch of chapters because it's the final stretch of chapters, and then we're done with Rave.
Oh man, the last chapter was my favorite because it ended. Is that what you're saying, Mathwiz?
Yeah, people.
So anyway, yes, we are finishing.
I was gonna say people do not seem to be, at least going off the numbers on the last episode. People do not seem to be too fond with keeping up with the Rave Master podcast. This truly is the low point. It's the act 2 of our endeavors.
Oh man, and we haven't even gotten to Fairy Tail yet. All right. So anyway, next time we are finishing Rave Master. We are reading chapters 235 to 296, which is the rest. So it's a little shorter than this time. I don't know how long the episode's gonna be. Probably
that's right. We have to do arc and character rankings.
Yeah, that's right. That will lengthen it, and battles, because we forgot to do that with One
I'm
Piece.
glad that you made a list of the arcs, because I have not been keeping track.
Once I had them listed down, it was much easier to actually rank them than trying to do it in my head. Because I wouldn't have considered the Sieg arc its own thing, but the Wikia does, so fuck it. So yeah, and I mean, I think we're both in agreement of our current favorite arc at the moment.
Yeah. Well,
so,
I think
yeah.
Mashima even called it that, like, Sieg was able to be a main character for an arc.
Okay, that's fair. So anyway, yeah, we are done with this one. So yeah, thank you for listening, both of our viewers, because this is our lowest view. It's still, like, I think the last one did pull over 1,000 after 2 weeks, so one of the fewer views, but still, we'll see how this one does. Anyway, thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.